Hopefully you can't hear it, and if you can, I am aware of it. Thank you for being here. Also, if you were just in here and I got cut off, like boom, okay, that was a power outage with the whole neighborhood, with the block at least. Um, I just moved. I just moved into like the a neighborhood on the outskirts, like suburbs, country of in Thailand, and this is a everyday stream of what life is like. So I just met one of my side neighbors for the first time. I'm sure they've heard me. One of them understands English. They might hear me right now. Sorry about that, but yeah. I met them for the first time and I asked them about, does this happen? They said about once a month. I said, okay. Again, don't ignore the bed. Today is laundry day, which is one of the realities of living out here. Washers and dryers aren't a thing, but we go places, but it's like a thing. So thank you for being here and supporting. And yay, I'll say it again. We hit our goal yesterday. Thank you for making this space. In return, to keep my word. I'm a woman of my word, if nothing else. That's what I've learned. Be a woman of your word, okay? So I'm going to go to TJ's. Please remember I have a small budget, but I'm also all of this. My last stream was only 4 minutes. Dang. All of this, hitting these goals really, really helps me feel confident to invest in this space, even though I know it's necessary and I feel called to. But thank you, your support. It's really to help provide from free resources, create space in these platforms, in these spaces for this kind of maybe just mindful moments or just breathing or just everything's going to be okay. I don't have to give you a whole lecture on some white girl pretending to be a Buddha. We have Buddhas in the building, all the higher powers with us. So and the angels over at TJ's computer, I will tell them, because it's in like this mall, this tech mall. So I will ask them to go like get like good mics from their friends or whatever that's in my budget. Maybe even cameras. That would be awesome. This camera is weird. It's okay though. Love it. The rainy season nails hanging in there, beautiful. Yes, yes. So I will go to TJ's computers, I believe, tomorrow and ask them to come here. They've been very supportive of my streaming career. I want to tell them we buzzing, we hitting goals, and it's in real life. Like I said, people like me are not out here. So I know I'm the only one streaming. There's a few in Bangkok, but that's really different. I've been living here in 4 years. I've had like a whole life here. I'm pretty young. I'm only 35. I've been just like, yeah. So that's why we're bringing to you brick by brick. So sorry for the power outage, but I said I was going to do something for the stream after the power outage. So put in the chat anything you want to say, anything you think should be done. Okay. I will go there. I'll tell them to get the mics. If everybody come here, we'll stream, testing the audio, and I will obviously pay this guy for his time of helping, and also for being on the stream. It'll be the first guest, a Thai speaker. The lovely computer people over at Zier's Langsit Mall, TJ Computers. I'm sure there's a Thai name as well. I have a little budget. That's why it looks like how it looks. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for being here. I can't believe that other stream was only 4 minutes. It felt like 25. Yes. Okay. Yes, yes. And shout out to everyone. Specifically, Saudi Arabia has been representing. A lot of y'all do logo art, banner art. It's beautiful. Thank you. You beautiful souls. Thank you. Thank you. It's already 6 6:15 on Thursday, September 11th, which means it's 6:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thursday, September 11th, which, you know, if you're of a certain age, and even maybe if you're of any age, you remember the tragedy of September 11th. So, prayers and thoughts for those who lost their loved ones. And you can pray that from today forward, we raise the human conscious collective and raise awareness to what's important, which is not to lose anybody in unnecessary acts of violence, genocide, terrorism, gun violence, homicide. That is, you know, I have my experience, you know, as an American with senseless gun violence. So we've all lost people, we've all lost friends. It's the worst. So that's what we can all agree on. So a moment for September 11th. I don't know how you guys are, how old y'all are, but I was old enough. I was in 5th grade or 6th grade. 6th grade. And it happened in school, and I think we saw the second one live, but I wasn't wearing my glasses, so I couldn't really see the TV. So that's like a little, maybe that was for the best. I do know some youngins, people younger than me, and people my age, actually. Shout out Brooke Averick. Brooke and Connor make a podcast. If you like me even a little bit, just Brooke and Connor make a podcast, okay? But Brooke Averick, who's one of the funniest women breathing, she had trauma from watching September 11th. She's from my neighborhood near Philadelphia, very near Philadelphia, but she felt like she made it happen. So it was traumatizing. I fear we are desensitized now. Thank you for being here. We hit our follower goal. Everyone in the chat, drop your Cash App, Flash Cash App for the first stream after monthly power outage. So, okay. Anyone in the stream, drop your Cash App and I will Cash App you. My little phones are charging. I need to text my mom and tell her I'm okay. But if you drop your Cash App, I can Cash App you a flash, everyone. All you have to do is follow. All you have to do is follow, put your Cash App in the chat, and I will send you that Cash App. Don't be expecting a lot, but it's something, okay? It's literally all I got. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Which reminds me, I have to pay my American cell phone bill with my US money. Yo, drop your Cash Apps, goofballs. Well, if you're just here, chilling in here with the sound off, I appreciate that too, because I'm not doing this for the numbies, but we're right on the brink of hitting some goals, and the numbies matter, okay? Without the numbies, the goals can't really be recognized. Okay, cheap viewer. Okay. All right. Thank you. I'm not looking to buy viewers, but if you could please follow, that would be awesome. We've been having the last few streams breaking records of the viewers. Yes. Feel free to copy my nail design. It's Liddy. They're such an illusion, dog. Woo! Beautiful. If I do say so myself, the camera. Oh, yeah. So, the people at TJ's will have a little money, and by the grace of God, by the grace of Buddha, by the grace of the higher powers that be, everybody here present, everybody that has followed, everybody that has poured into the energy in here, I have the ability to invest a little bit, so we can see how far that money can take us. This is, I think, the limit I want to stick to. Oh no, this is Malaysian money. Oh no, this is some Thai money. Here we have 3,000 baht, which isn't too much, and some Malaysian money, 100,000, and like, I don't know. However, Malaysian money's crazy. 100,000 is not even that much at all. So this is what, okay, 3,000, and then I have more. I have a few more, so maybe 6,000, which is a lot considering we pay 12,000 a month for rent. So, 1111. That's Thai money. There's feathers for my mom. I found it in my streaming room like a day or two after we moved in here. No explanation. So me and my mom and everybody agrees. My mom, she isn't a feather, but she'll send little feathers because she's still a little invested in this world. Her name's, still tied up in things. She hasn't been gone for too long. So, and absolutely, dance, my bestie, my dance partner, Amber Nicole Reds. Her energy is here with us. I invite you to recall your angels and ancestors and thank them for guiding you and walking with you, and just recall that every time you take a step, you have your angels and ancestors beside you, guiding you, behind you, beneath you. So even what you think is the biggest mistake, if you can put your faith in a highest power, if you can put your faith in your angels and ancestors, even if it's that you learned the lesson and that they will use their efficiency and they will keep speaking to you, and that they forgive you and that you should forgive yourself, and that life will go on and life should go on, and that only God can decide when it's time for you to be called back home to another dimension. Giving good accumulated energy to everyone here. Thank you for being here, tapping in. Let me know where you're tapping in from. Shout out to Saudi Arabia, who has been really present. Oh, and Poland. Wait, let me look something up. Let's look something up together. I'll share my John. education, especially if I hope we have American people. I hope we have Philly people, because I have some, the way I talk, I have some stories and things that Philly people would love for y'all to tap in. And I believe you'd find it entertaining. I do believe. And I know it's a tough crowd. Okay, what am I doing? Okay. Source. Okay. So, wait, un momento. Thank you so much for being here. And I'll give my whole spiel, but please follow. I appreciate it. I hate asking. Please follow. Appreciate it. We hit our goal yesterday, and it just felt, we have a chance with the rhythm. We have a chance with the Al Gore rhythm. Okay. Google Earth, Saudi Arabia. Like, I know where it is, but like also, like, just an American. Also, if there's any Americans in the shot. Why is this still like this? It was perfect and it disappeared. Why does everything go away? Give me a second. Stick with me. Shot. Here we go. Okay. Okay. We're typing in Saudi Arabia. That's it. It's not that deep. Okay, thank you. Saudi Arabia? It's in Dubai. Oh, well, okay, I think there's the kingdom, and then maybe not. Let's see. Okay, so here we are in the world. Zoom out for a second. I believe we're looking at, like, Israel, Palestine, Free Palestine. Territory over here. Okay. Actually, I'm trying not to go off on all that's happening, which is one day soon. I will. I thought it'd be today, but okay. So yeah, this like gray area that should probably be like an 8th continent. Okay. Is this because my computer's old? Go. Go. Go, little guy. Yeah, I want to see the street view. Go, go, go. Here we go. Wait, it's really a desert. Okay. Hey, yo. Let's see. Okay, now that we see exactly where it is. Map. Thailand to Saudi Arabia. Because I have a funny story. Crazy story. True story. Let's see. Okay. Over. Where are we flying over? Where's over this? Flying over India, Bangladesh. I believe this is where Sri Lanka, where my man used to live. I have been to the Maldives, which are right here, which they look like just waves. Something with the fish. And then you go over Pakistan, which I've never been. All these I've never been. Turkmenistan, you hear about on like social. Kazakhstan. Okay, then we're all the way on going. See, that escalated quickly. Okay. And then Oman, that's where Dubai is. Okay, so Saudi Arabia is right near Dubai. and some stuff. This is something they never, my man also lived in Turkey and he speaks fluent Turkish. He works for a Turkish company now. I lived all over China. Shout out Harbin. I can't believe I haven't yapped about this a lot. Shout out Harbin. Oh, I don't know if China has Twitch. Shout out Harbin. Shout out Tianjin. Shout out Tianjin. Shout out Beijing. Okay, shout out Wuhan. Shout out Shanghai. Shout out Nanjing. Shout out Guangzhou. Shout out Guangdong. I'm sorry for anything I ever did. I love you, China. Thank you. That was the time of my life. I love you, China. I love China. Okay? Shout out Sanya. Shout out Hong Kong. Shout out Taiwan. Shout out Tibet. Shout out Macau. Please let me know if you're from China in the chat. I can't believe I haven't brought that up yet. Let me see what y'all saying still. Okay. Okay. And now let's YouTube it. I'm on a little kick with Saudi Arabia. I gotta eat. I gotta get on my phone. Let me turn on the desktop, John. Hey, us on YouTube. Hey. See? BNC. I never watched Miss Rachel. That woman snuck on there. Average day in Saudi Arabia. We could watch a reaction. American reacts to a normal day in Saudi Arabia. I don't want the point of view of an American. I want the slums. No, I'm good on that. Watch this. Because everywhere, like, I don't know, I don't even like where your head's at. Why Iran? Come on, guys. Country you hate? What's going on? Our home in Saudi Arabia? Our home tour in Saudi Arabia as expats. First time in Saudi Arabia. Okay, I feel like this would be a vision of, like, what my experience would be, but I wanted, like, a cool life. Let's see. I hope. I need to run downstairs. There's so much I need to do, but let's watch this. Okay, this is what Saudi Arabia looks like. Okay, girls letting loose. Okay, that looks cool. Parts of China look like that, kind of. Okay, everyone's very covered up. Everyone's in the gear. This is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has been in the chat from the little few interactions I had with people from Saudi Arabia. They had nothing but great things to say about it, and they were just like, come visit, you know? So we're just trying to get a street view. Okay, this looks fun. Okay. I think I can tell who are tourists, or maybe I'm wrong. See, I don't know. But yeah, this looks fun. I'm sure there's a whole nightlife. I just wanted to see what it looked like. I don't know. Oh, see, that looks like even a little glimpse. That looks like Philly for a second. Like when you're headed towards City Hall down from the Art Museum. A little bit Asia filter, but yeah. Okay. 94. Okay. Learn something new. Sound off in the shop. If you're from wherever you're from, if you're from Saudi Arabia, we just did a little, wherever you're from, mad interested. Also, this is a space. Most of us are practicing English as a second language, and I love us for that. So, space for all that. Whatever you want to talk about. Dang, I'm tired. Okay, let me get my phone and text my mom. Not that I text her all the time, every second, but I just happened to tell her my power went out. So again, drop your Cash App for the after footage stream. Broken our goal, okay? Time to set a new goal. Let's do it. The goal is 25. That's the real goal. Then we have 4 more. Thank you for being in here. Please, if you haven't followed, please follow. If you're a follower, please sign off in the chat, just where you're tapping in from, what country. I'm not going to dig in your personal life, but feel free to dig in mine. I'm offering myself while I'm here, okay? This is an authentic view of living as an expat, an American. I'm from Philly. I'm from Lower Merion. Girl, my man's from Haiti. I was in China. He was in Turkey and Saudi Arabia. And now we are both in Thailand. Not together, we just met in Thailand. So we've been together for like a year. So, and we just moved into this big ass 6-story house for $400 US a year because we've been here so long and we like cheat coded stuff. So this is like a real life game, and that's what we're playing. They don't really have washing machines like that. So if you're in a country that has washing machines if you're in a country that has washing machines, know you're privileged. Like taking up air, earth resources, the most entitled, okay? And then if you have a washer and dryer, know that you are off the Richter. You are part of the problem. We can talk about it. And I don't mean that, like, I'll hold your hand and say that. I don't mean that a bad way. I grew up washer dryer. It just is what it is. But anyway, you know, we are Western. We do, even so, we go to like the laundromat, like the Western laundromat. I'm not gonna lie, it's a whole thing, but it does still cost about like $10 US. Yeah, soon I'll be doing IRL streams there. There'll be clean cafes I can show you. And the thing is, it's not just this neighborhood. There's a ton of neighborhoods that are like this, and then there's a ton of other similar neighborhoods that I lived in for years. So you can see everything. And I don't have any motive. I'm not editing content. I'm not trying to look good. This is really an inside. And I actually have a company that brings people here to Thailand. I've had it for about 10 years with a big break over COVID. So, obviously. Okay. Oh, thank you for being here. Please ask any questions. And let me know where you're tapping in from. Thank you. I want to go get my phone real quick and text my mama and tell her it's back on. Let's see what's on the home page on YouTube. Sorry if there's buzzing. That's getting fixed tomorrow. A follow would be dope. Hey, shout out to us on YouTube. Yeah. Here's the temple I study with.
จิตเราเนี่ยมันเหมือนลิงที่ยังไม่ได้ฝึกนะมันจะกระโดดไปต้นไม้นู้นต้นไม้นี้ไปเรื่อยเราต้องผูกมันลมนี่แหละอานาปานสติเนี่ยเป็นเชือกที่ไปผูกลิงไว้เบื้องต้นเราต้องใช้ลมยาวก่อนเหมือนใช้
I think it just started raining. So the two things, which is very Thai, like could flood quite often, like talking like to the knees flood, and power out once a month, and they're not sure why. Meanwhile, do y'all know what Bangkok? Look, Bangkok power lines, okay? I'm sure they're fake. Guys are like not sure why the power's out. They're fake. Look at these power lines. It's not a joke. Like, that's not AI. That's really what the lines are like. They keep saying they're gonna move them under. keep saying they're going to move them underground. I think everybody gets nostalgic because it's such like a vibe, but then it's also like, but I've also lived in the city for so long, years, and I never did the power outages. But now in the suburbs, in the country, in the hood, whatever you want to call it, in the clongs, okay, shout out Clong's song, in the clongs for real, Clong song, Clong Sam. It's like this, and people are nostalgic about it, so about it. They can't picture Bangkok without these. So yeah, that's what it looked like. That's what it looks like for real. So that could be part of the problem, but who knows? Like they said, it happens about once a month, and they don't know. So since it's the stream right after, y'all have been here for like 30 minutes. Thank you for rocking with me. Please put your Cash App in the shot, and I will be Cash Apping you for coming back. It's definitely pouring rain. I'm so glad the power's out, but the mission is so laundry. Okay, how about this? I'm going to put on one short video, and during that time, I'm going to put my laundry in the to-go bags. It should take like 2 minutes. So if you have like a 2-minute task to do, 2-minute task, think about it for a minute now. Can y'all hear the rain? Let's put this on for a hot minute, okay? This is 53 minutes. Let's put it on for 1 or 2, see what it's about. And if you want to go use this as peer motivation, if you have something, maybe it's brush your teeth, maybe it's write something down, maybe it's wash your dinner, wash your plate from dinner. Maybe it's take out the trash. Hopefully you're not making that much trash. Okay, if you have like a 2-minute task, let's get on it, okay? Streamers are not bums. People that we're here, we're together. It's a vibe, it's an energy. We're motivating each other. Let's see what they're talking about. You know I'm from Philly, so shout out to New York. Shout out to our cousin New York. Shout out to our brother, dare I say, New York, city of brotherly love. Who's the brother for Philly? New York. Okay, I see Tota and Kai wearing AI jerseys, and if you think I'm talking about ChatGPT, you're too young. Okay, I see them wearing AI jerseys. The answer. Thank you for that. Thank you for being true brothers. I love our brothers New York. Let's see what this guy's talking about. I think I trust this guy. I know he's a white guy, but I feel like I kind of trust him. Let's see.
Wall Street, the average salary here, $565,000 a year. It's a nice, very good. For the rain, but not too bad.
I'm leaving the mic. I hope that y'all can hear the rain. But let me know in the chat if it's buzzing, if it's not good.
Money, New York.
I'll turn it down a little bit.
Volume a bit. We're deep in the Bronx now. Crime is down quite a bit in the city. If you're to believe the government's numbers, tell us about this neighborhood.
It's disgusting.
It's ghetto.
It's treacherous. Don't come over here if you're a tourist.
What a good decision. Let's cruise into Central Park. So you have fresh eyes on the United States because you just came here 3 years ago. What do you think about the country? We're going to a part of the Bronx I had no idea existed. We have some lobster specials here. Just wanted to show you guys a different New York City. Good morning, guys. Here in New York City, a place that makes a lot of noise on the world stage, a place that is always changing. But what is New York City like now? Today, we're gonna start here on the most southern tip of Manhattan. And the goal is to get all the way up to the Bronx to show you the sights, but more importantly, talk to the locals, get their take on what their city is currently like. Let's do this. So it all sort of happened in this area right here. The Dutch settlers called this New Netherlands, 1624. All right, guys, I'm trying to find it for you. It's been closed off. It's the monument for the Netherlands. Where is it? There it is. We can see the top of the flagpole. So, New Netherlands expanded from Delaware all the way to upstate New York. And the reason was the fur trade. So right here, there was a massive fort, obviously no longer. And there's the monument. It's not really that great of a monument, to be honest. Let's get in. I want to show you some of these streets here. These streets are super interesting because unlike the rest of New York City, they don't take on a grid pattern. So they were designed, we can see a little bit here, but we'll get in there, in a curved way. New Amsterdam, New York City used to be called. can see that looks a little bit like Amsterdam. And the financial district here is a maze of amazing architecture. And I want to bring you over to Wall Street, the capital of capital in the world. Here's where people from around the world come to make their fortunes. New York Stock Exchange, a roughly $25 trillion market cap, largest in the world. Then we have the NASDAQ, 20 trillion market cap, second largest globally. Very a lot of jobs down here. Salary is
Okay, wow. First of all, I'm proud of myself for taking 3 minutes. Got my laundry, and I call them Chinese luggage. I see as the world is slowly but surely starting to learn. We're very similar. People say, oh, these are Nigerian. In like New York family, we call these, well, I don't know. My family, we call them Chinese luggage. They are obviously made in China, but what isn't mostly. But like, yeah, some people said that their Christmas stuff was in it. I was like, makes sense. That's how I knew we were moving houses, either to the vacation house or moving houses or whatever. So, okay, thank you for being here. I do see, wow, I see, we're breaking goals, hitting goals, and it's my job in this role as a vessel to notice trends, and we've been doing good. And then I just kind of noticed my first trend, which was, dang, I was gone for 3 minutes, and like a lot of people left the room. So thanks for still being here. But like, okay, the whole thing was like to keep in the room, and then I'd be right back, and like, yeah, we did something. And like I said, even if it's brush your teeth, you probably need to brush your teeth, something like that. Okay, it's just so you don't be a bum in here. I'm not gonna let my people just be bums. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, cheap. Oh, everyone in the chat, drop your Cash App. Pinning that. Oh, crrr. Okay, I didn't really watch a lot of that in New York, but dang. I guess the people want to see me. I need to eat. Oh, what I didn't do is get my phone. Alright, well. Listen, I wish you could hear the rain soon, okay? Damn, we're going to have 4 days to get 4 followers. And depending on how this goes, 3 days to have 2 of them with a certain amount of average viewers, which I don't think we have right now. So it's crunch time. But if we hit these goals, I will have a IRL camera. I will invest, and I can take you. You can see these Thailand monsoons. You can experience. I know some people might think they're thinking about it. Some people might really be thinking about it, yada, yada, yada. But whatever, it's just cool to have a real point of view. I promise it's not edited. You get the feeling of what it really feels like, okay? This New York video wasn't a hit with the masses. Oh, 16 minutes ago. Living in Bali versus Bangkok. I don't know. That kind of has our name on it. Should I save to watch later? Should we even start with all that? I guess. Okay. Let's hear what they have to say. Shout out my brother, Thugga. Okay, as far as I know, he has done nothing. He apologized for saying Gunna's a rat, even though Gunna is a rat. That man is a musical genius. He is young. I don't even care if he cheated on Mariah the Scientist. His Barter 6 got my life lit. Got me through a hard time. Got to the littest on like the drop. So, excuse me if I just feel like he's just, I do not condone gun violence, but I do condone heavily young thugs. So.
The Cobb County jail system has officially banned the ability to request any open records when it comes to young thugs. So you cannot go and get any of those jail calls now.
They released all of them already, I feel like.
but no, see, keep going, Lauren, because everybody keeps acting like
it's them that released them. But a lawyer literally was telling me last week how the Georgia Open Records Act made it possible for people to request these calls.
Yes.
Yeah, Lauren said that last week, though. She said that when they first dropped.
Yeah, I was trying to provide, because people were trying to make it seem like, I mean, again, and because they can't tell me, and I did ask, well, who requested what? And I pointed to specific audios, and they would not tell me that. But I was trying to figure out how this was happening. But as of yesterday, that has completely changed. Now, I do want to play something from the Young Thug interview with Bank, because Thug actually talked about the calls and the calls being banned. He thought they were banned a minute ago, back when the Mariah Scientist, Daddy Am I Your Baby, when all that stuff leaked.
Because some stuff had already leaked.
Yes, let's take a listen to Young Thug with Big Bank.
When the first few jail calls came out, me and my girl just talking. When those first few jail call came out, my team got in touch with the Cobb County people and stopped all of it, like shut down the whole system. Now you can't go get none of that. Okay. So what they tell you? Somebody been had it. They got it back then, and they just waiting to release it.
And that's the key point. Somebody been went and got those calls, and they had to go through it, right? So they went through it and made sure they could find everything that would cause the headline and started releasing them.
Did they ever hit you back? Because I know you requested some calls at one time. Did they ever?
No, I didn't get anything back from the from my open records request that I put in. And the reason why I did that, to be clear, is because I just wanted to see how the process worked, to see how a person would have gotten those calls. But because I didn't get it back, I followed back up with Cobb County. And the people over in the sheriff's office over there, and was just asking some questions, and this is what they shot back to me. They also wanted to make it clear that the reason why this is happening now is because of safety concerns for Young Thug and his family. Now, to your point, though, it's like, why now? I don't know if maybe they didn't understand the gravity of like Young Thug or the situation or what, but it is in effect as of today.
Well, I'm sure they could find out who requested for all those calls back then, because I'm sure it wasn't that many people that requested that even knew about it, correct?
You can, but at the same time, it's like if it's something you could just put in a request to do, and people are able to, multiple people,
right.
You don't. There's not like a website that has exclusive Young Thug. You don't know who to point to, so it's like, what do you do at this point but rectify it now? And that's what they're trying to do. And they do make it clear that anything that we hear from this point on was released prior. Nothing new is coming out. So, yes.
Hey y'all, what's up? It's Lauren LaRosa here talking about my guys over at Top Dog Law. Now, you've heard the name, you've seen them around, and if you've ever been in a car accident, slip and fall, or even a worksite injury, you already know the move. Top Dog Law is where you call to get every dollar you deserve. Don't settle for nothing small, because nothing should be small this season. Top Dog fights for real results, big cases, big wins, and you don't have to pay them a dime unless they win for you. It's a free consultation, no pressure, just real talk about what your case could be worth. Call now or check them out on Instagram at Top Dog Law, or hit up topdoglaw.com. Let the Top Dogs handle it. Now, let's get back to the show.
Now, in other news, sending a congratulations to Glorilla.
What Big Glow do?
So Glorilla has now become the third female rapper to top mainstream R&B and hip hop airplay charts 6 times.
Dropping the clues bombs for Glorilla.
Hey, R&B too?
Yeah, so because this is the you know how she did the Keisha Cole Typa
record,
yeah. She redid Love with Keisha or by Keisha Cole. Yeah. So
she got 6 #1 records at radio now.
Yes. Yep.
She's only the third female artist to do that.
Yes.
Who's the other 2 artists?
Yeah. The other 2 artists,
Nicki Minaj and Cardi B.
Oh, you had your argument ready because people was mad at you about that. Yeah, he gonna ask me what she heard the answer to.
Listen, man.
He better be right.
Listen, I'm just saying, man. That's all. I'm just saying. I'm telling you, it's Nicki Minaj and Cardi B.
You done read the full article?
Yes, I read the article.
How did you feel though, because you know people are still, because this Billboard posted this announcement, people were still having a conversation about how crazy they think you are for putting Glow over Nicki Minaj.
I didn't put her over.
Y'all
gotta stop. No, I didn't. Stop saying that. What I said was it would be competitive. I never put her over. I never said she would even win. I said it would be competitive.
That's not the conversation.
Y'all got Twitter ears. Y'all got Twitter ears and Twitter brains.
That's acceptable.
I don't even be on Twitter.
Yeah, that's acceptable. Yeah, because Glow has hits, and I was saying that, you know, the thing. I thought we were talking about catalogs and being artists, and we were saying
yes. And I said that I could
a global artist, and Glow is on her way to be.
And I said that I could make a playlist for playlists, 20 songs or 20 songs. That would be competitive. You'd be bobbing your head to it like, oh, okay, Glow.
No, I agree.
That's what I said.
I didn't hear that
day. Said Glow will wash Nicki.
I did not say that.
I didn't hear that day.
I didn't say that. But anyway, Glorilla, third female artist to do that after Nicki Minaj and Cardi B.
Yes. And shout out to them because I'm
That's
looking at
what's
the
up.
numbers now in the article, and I mean, I think people too, because music moves so fast with TikTok and Instagram.
We don't appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm just looking. These ladies have so many songs that chart and hit these numbers, and that was such a big deal at one point. We talked about it so recklessly.
People have not been. And we talked about this the other day. Even I think we did it was off the air, but people have not been paying attention to how Glorilla runs radio and Glorilla runs the clubs.
Absolutely.
Like period. That's culture. Like the last 2, maybe 3 years, she's ran radio.
Hello. People are not liking when I'm not here. That's really cute. Okay, but I am making tea, but my man drank all the tea, which is completely fine. So I'm gonna have hot water, and I'm gonna have some mashed potatoes. Para dinner. Just what else? I could make eggs, but I'm actually being quick. We've had some bumping streams the last 2 days. I was hoping, but maybe we're just locked in a different way. So I feel y'all. I almost feel like watching some Twitch. Like, let's support some streamers in the shot. Let me know where you're watching from, please, in the chat. What up, Sawadee, ni hao, ni hao. Best Indian interactive stream. Let's see.
What the heck is this, Deb? AI call. What the heck? No way! Is it what I'm thinking it is?
Pretty girl. $160 people watching. 160 people watching. Okay, she has 14,000 followers. Pop off, girl. Wow, level 13 hype train while you're sleeping with 60,000 people in the shot is Jordan numbers, is LeBron numbers, Kobe numbers of streaming. He just put a lot of production. They could get more creative, but they're putting creativity. They're doing a plot line, like a spin-off plot line of Miles Morales and the drummer. The office drummer became the hood drummer, and they got him to the basketball court. But they could be doing more. But also people remember the audience on here. The average audience is young. So, hey, welcome back, y'all. Let me know where y'all are tapping in from. We're just supporting going through some, streamers. Not that Kai Cenat needs the support, but shout out Kai Cenat. He's hitting all his goals. Oh my gosh. Whoa. What a great guy. Speed has been super interesting to watch. He's had an issue or two with production. Clover House. Not a lot of people watching them, even though they be buzzing. I mean, they're on Mafiathon. Only 12 people want to watch a spinoff, and 10. Wait, that's crazy. So they're all on Mafiathon 3, whatever. You would think if obviously Kai's the star, but still. These guys are up. 5 of them. Granted, it doesn't look like something I want to look at, but I'm just saying. These guys are up. And you would think that more than 10 of them, am I wrong? No. This is, he's funny, girl, he's funny, Lil Reggie's son. And just, I think his people, but only 12 people. And then 60,000 people would rather watch Kai sleep and this spin-off story. So Kai, they're on the same platform. This could be so much diverse. Look at these people just gifting. This is funny, whatever's going on. Okay? They're getting creative with it. That's funny. That's funny. People gifting subs. Okay, crazy. A lot of support, a lot of love. I did say we were gonna watch. Oh my God, they're doing it to Kai. I did say that they were gonna. Oh, but it says for Kai. Oh, that's for Kai. I did say we were gonna watch some. See, it's Reg Too Funny. Oh, I'm right. See, it's Reg Too Funny. He's definitely at the Mafia-thon 3 house. He's live right now and only 203. I know this is 200 gifted, bed folded. No, people gifted 200. Listen, I'm not here for the money, but the money can do some good things. Wow. I do know he's giving 15% to a school in Nigeria, so wow. Oh, so he's just gaming. So wait. It's Reg Too Funny. That's not even who I was thinking about. These are just suggestions. These aren't people I follow. So I don't really like to watch people play games. I'm so interested in real life. Okay, we saw her. Mafia-thon 3 watch party. Okay, very, very meta. Very meta. Let's see. Mira supposedly is IRL. She has 136 people. Let me know in the chat who you like. I like supporting, like, okay, he has 4. Let's see what's going on in here. Oh, Kai Mafia-thon watch party. Ayo. I mean, I guess I could just support the... It's better audio, but I was like, I guess I can just support the small creator, but... Let me go get my food and drink.
top three. If you have a tie, you can say it.
Strawberries, apples, and like cantaloupe.
Are they tied or
And like cantaloupe.
are they tied or like which one's your favorite?
Which is better, Bangkok or Bali? If you're planning your next travel destination or wondering where to start building your new lifestyle as a digital nomad, this vlog is for you. I've been traveling full-time for the last 4 years now, and out of all places I've been, Bangkok and Bali are the two places that I keep coming back to. I've traveled both places more than 10 times and spent a lot of time living in both places as a digital nomad. So in this video, I'm gonna be sharing my honest thoughts on both Bangkok and Bali to help you figure out which one might be good for you. Enjoy the vlog. I wanted to come to this restaurant so bad before going to Bali. Can I have one kai krata? And a coffee. And let's talk about food first. Bangkok versus Bali. We're going to Bali tomorrow, so I wanted to come here before going to Bali. Because it's open air, and I like this area. This is my favorite dish. Is it? Yeah, for food, when I think about Thai food, I can think about so many dishes. I can say like my top 3 dishes. Come on, guy. In Bangkok and also in Bali, but both place really good Wi-Fi. I never had any problem with Wi-Fi in both Bali and Bangkok. Or place to work, Bangkok versus Bali even. Yeah, whether you stay.
Okay. I might be very hypocritical because I want people to lock in with my stream of conscious, but when I watch a YouTube video, I feel like it should be boom, boom, but not in a corny way. But I guess he said it's the same to find work. They're so different, but it's the same to find like space to work. He just hasn't been there long enough. He's just there to make videos. That's why he made a video so quickly. Different kind of nomad.
In condo or hotel, Bangkok has pool and gym and co-working space. Accommodation in Bali, they have pool, but I don't really see
cheese,
gym and also co-working space. Yeah, if you want to use gym and co-working space in where you stay in Bangkok, I go to cafe in Bali for work. And price range, you can find like any range in both places.
Both city.
Yeah, let's go to the airport. Let's go. It's like here. Let's talk about transportation situation. Oh, no, it's a bit traffic. But in Bangkok, there is a sky train, so you can take train when it's traffic.
The thing is, the traffic in Bali and Bangkok is kind of similar. Bali, even though it's island, but there will be time that you stuck in traffic too. Then in that case, you have less option compared to Bangkok. Today, we choose to go by taxi class.
Backpacks. Transportation in Bangkok is so convenient. There are many options, like taxi, motorbike. There's also a train in Bangkok.
So convenient, so many options. But you will be in traffic.
Yeah, when I go to Bali, I always stay in Canggu, where it's a digital nomad hotspot. And also like, famous for surfing. And when I stay in Canggu, I can go anywhere in 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes.
This is so warm, but it feels so good. I didn't have mashed potatoes for years out here. When I was in Bali, I was in Den Spencer. Shout out Den Spencer. Amazing. I think I went to Ubud and the Monkey Sanctuary and maybe where he's talking about, but I was there for like 5 days. I just had a spiritual experience with the people of the witch doctors of the land, if you will. That's what I did with my time. Bali. I don't mean to sound obnoxious. Most affordable luxury place I ever went vacation-wise. And I can tell you the spots if you're interested.
The area of Canggu.
Yeah, everything is in Canggu. A restaurant, cafe, place to stay, and the beach, gym. Like, you can go anywhere in a short amount of time. If you ride on motorcycle, it's so convenient. If you're not comfortable with riding on motorcycle or like being on the motorcycle, it might be hard to go around in Canggu.
I mean, people can choose to go by car, but if you're gonna stuck in traffic forever.
You might stuck
So if you're comfortable with motorbike, Bali's really convenient. In Bangkok, there are a lot of options, but it might take some time to explore a lot of places.
Yeah.
So it's hard to pick like which one is better for transportation. Let's say even.
ขอบคุณมากค่ะ
ครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ Let's go.
The air quality and the traffic, but the traffic is a trade-off for the convenience of getting around. Okay, and I've had this all comes as flat, information kind of, and it is true, but there's like emotional hurdles and journeys that you actually go through to accepting this and getting away from judgment and bias and looking at what you are looking at with like a whole different light. So that's what this is here for, this space particularly. Oh wow, thank you for being here for an hour. Just hit an hour. I think that power outage kind of messed up the flow of this stream, algorithm wise. So I'm thinking about staying on while I physically go and do my laundry, like for an hour and a half. Thinking about it. Who knows?
I can't wait to go back to Bali.
What does it mean?
Huh?
It means that you want to leave Bangkok?
I can't wait to drive motorcycle in Bali.
Hello.
Yeah, it's so good to be back.
We're just watching videos, hanging out. If you have anything to put in the chat, please put anything in the chat. Thank you for
In
coming.
Bali,
in.
I miss nature so much. Today, we went for a run in the morning on the beach. Yeah, so let's talk about activity.
I would say this is the clear win for Bali to me. There's no ocean in Bangkok.
Yeah, in Bali, you can enjoy so many different type of nature activities. Snorkeling, diving, surfing. We go for a run, either on rice field or on the beach, or like we hang out with friends on the beach, or we go to the ocean whenever we want. But in Bangkok, the way you hang out is so different, right?
Bangkok is about rooftop bar culture, I would say. Well, at least to me, yeah. Like when I work corporate job in Bangkok, the main activity we do, okay, two main things, rooftop bar, because in Bangkok there are many skyscrapers, shopping mall.
Oh, also night market.
Yeah, I forgot about night market. How come I forgot about night market? Yeah, that's one thing too. Bali, there is no high rise.
You cannot build tall buildings in Bali.
Yeah, I have heard local told me that the building here cannot be taller than coconut tree.
So no high rise.
Yeah, but Bali has nature like this.
It's good for you. I think there is like no like bad or no good. Bali and Bangkok have different feeling.
You can't build a building. Am I muted? No, you can't build a building higher than a coconut tree. That's adorable. So different than Bangkok. I told you, they're so different. People are comparing them, and I get why you're comparing them, but they're made different. But ask me if you want to know. Cheers. This is just hot water because we don't have tea, but this is a reminder. That's how a lot of Chinese grandmothers stay so healthy, and grandfathers, and just Chinese people in general. Ancient Chinese secret. Feel so healthy and in their young age. So if you can, a little hot water, lime, or lemon, or just hot water. Ancient Chinese health secret. Let's take a sip. Shout out to Jared the consumer for the follow today. We are crushing goals. Drink your water. Drink your hot water. Water break.
Nice.
Water break. Drink your water.
Mochi mochi.
Okay.
It's 100 degrees and I'm drinking hot water. You see me sweating?
And there's a restaurant with a pool in the middle of rice
That's
field.
sweat.
That cafe is from Japan, from Kyoto. That way you can get good matcha. Okay. We made
And
a
my hair's
cost of
still
living
wet from
video,
the shower.
both in Bali and Bangkok, tracking everything like food, transportation, accommodation, groceries, food.
Okay, I don't know why all
Yes,
this
if
stuff
food
kind of
too.
makes me sad. I don't know why. I don't know. Ask me anything you want to know. Drake, Somebody Loves Me Part 2 blends old allies with new. I don't know if I'm ready for this. Drake, Somebody Loves Me. Let's see.
Drake's Somebody Loves Me Part 2 blends old allies with new club energy. Most artists drop singles and hope you notice. Drake innovatively linked his music to narrative episodes, debuting Somebody Loves Me Part 2 during episode 3 of the Iceman livestream series.
I can't watch that. Here we are with Teacher Sammy. Let me know what you think.
Welcome back to the Young Creators
I'll tell you
Learning
details.
Channel.
Okay, so I have the kids record. We take a few minutes and then I give them a few minutes to edit and they can airdrop and I upload it. They can't have their faces on because they're kiddies. But the editing, and trust me, everything's free. They're only using the free software. So, yeah.
So great to see you all. Today we're doing a quick vocal warm-up so that you can get your voice ready, your face ready,
A little
and
quiet.
have some nice pronunciation tools up your sleeve. First, follow me. Put your lips together and making a pop sound like this.
That kid did please subscribe. How cute.
Our next sound,
The kid's name is Zonic.
put your tongue to the top of your mouth and make a click like this. Go ahead and try.
This was recorded yesterday. We do a green screen. Some of them figured it out.
Beautiful. Okay,
Okay.
make sure you don't spit. Put your hand here.
I'll show you.
Push air out of your closed lips. And
So these kids are like 7. We have a few green screens that I'm effing with.
welcome back to the Young Creators Learning Channel. Today we're going to talk about what makes a really good introduction to your channel.
They sped it up a
First,
little.
know your script. Feel free to change it, but when you hit record, have an idea of what you're going to say. Whether it's, hi guys, hey everyone, saladika, whatever you want to say, make sure you have an idea.
Good advice.
Also, have confidence and speak clearly when you say it. Nobody can understand you if you speak too quickly, especially because not everyone all over the world is a native English speaker. Third, make sure you have some excitement and personality, whether you're funny, whether you're dramatic.
Please, let me just remind you, a 7-year-old recorded this and then edited this on free. English is his second language. He reminds you he's 7. The whole thing, recording and editing, 20 minutes tops. And airdrop.
Make sure it's not just plain and simple and bland. You get to set the tone for
Another
your video
one
in the first
that
5
was
to 10
okay.
seconds.
This one's
So take
fabulous.
advantage
You
of
only
that.
have 4
if you want
likes,
people to
5
come and
likes.
see that they're gonna have.
Okay, we turn the comments off because they're kids. I'm not going to subscribe.
What's up, everyone? Thank you for being here and welcome back. Let's listen and lock in. We are about to begin here at the Young Creators Learning Channel. I hope you liked our new intro. We've been working on it, and I hope you've been working on yours too. Before we get started doing anything today, let's warm up our face. Our face is an exciting muscle, and we don't want to forget about it and just walk around with a face like this. So let's close our eyes and open our eyes big, big, big. Just our eyeballs look.
I don't know. I'm looking like the future Miss Rachel for medium age, for all ages, not for babies, but babies, it's kid friendly, mother approved, works for everybody. Meditation for you and your baby, okay? Yes, the camera angles are not great. I have 20 of. So the thing is, like 20 of them will record me, and then some of them just like know theirs isn't good. Some of them really don't know how to use the editing, but they're just playing with it. So they're still working up the courage to get one good enough to airdrop, to be posted. But like this kid, for example, Zonic, has been on fire. He says everything's free, but like, I'm sorry, I love this hand one. And I say in the drawing, I say, oh wait, let me show.
Ready? The first one, starting off with the hardest. Red. Maybe you guys can edit the words.
He did it.
Red. Red. Maybe you guys can edit the words in here.
I said, maybe you guys can edit the words in here. He did 10 minutes of editing, okay? He said, can you do the edit by Supersonic and like 49 or something, whatever account is. I said, no, sweetie, I can't. I'm so sorry, but I'll put this up as digital proof and hopefully it stays up. It just, takes screenshots. And so, yeah, but they're kitties, so I'm not even promoting it.
Leather. Yellow.
English is not his first language.
Together. Red. Leather. Yellow. Leather. Red.
I like this edit.
Yellow. A little faster. Red. Leather. Yellow. Leather. Red.
Sweating.
Yellow leather. Red leather. Yellow leather. Red leather. in the space of speaking, of performing. The next one, we have unique New York. Put it together. Unique New York. Unique New York. Unique New York. Unique New York. Faster. Unique New York. 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 Beautiful. And the last one, this one's pretty easier to say, but really try to over-exaggerate everything going on in your face while you say it. You're going to say watermelon bubblegum. Watermelon bubblegum. Watermelon bubblegum. Watermelon bubblegum. Watermelon bubblegum. Watermelon bubblegum. Smile. Watermelon bubblegum. Watermelon bubblegum. Watermelon bubblegum.
Okay. I got my attention. I know the production quality isn't the best, but I like where we're headed. I'm not taking credit for this. This is these little kitties, okay? It's their vision. Their vision.
Action.
Welcome to Young Creators Learning. I did not tell them to put this. Subscribe, comment, and share. The little do they know you can't even comment because they're kitty witties. To your friends to show your support. Come on. Join us for this learning journey in theater of the current world, sharing our videos on the internet. Thanks for your support. Hope it helps remind you to take a breath and focus on your acting skills to support your creator journey. Acting skills is not the right word, but I think I was just going for like SEO.
So this is your reminder.
I am sweating, okay? So we don't have to... This one's our most views with 74 views. It's chaotic.
Hi, I'm Miss Sam, and I'm your new dance and drama teacher. Before we get started, let's take a breath right where we are. Open our eyes, big, 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 and big breath. Better at dance and drama.
One kid told me my mouth looks scary. Have not been able to unsee it since, okay? I don't even know how we got here. I do need to go do laundry, okay? Maybe I should hub too. I feel like I want to leave the stream open and clock. What can we put on? Sorry, I know you guys really like me, and that really warms my heart. So if you can stay on here and support, I will really appreciate it.
Okay, and then we will speak about that. Again, I will ask.
Okay, focus.
I am sweating.
Pay attention. Pain plus reflection equals progress. And from that principle, my company became the largest hedge fund in the world.
Managing how much?
$150 billion. But I learned that history of things that never happened in my lifetime before were important things to understand in order to predict the future. And we can get into that if you want.
Please.
So,
Ray Dalio is the legendary billionaire investor
who decoded the cycles of human history to predict financial crashes,
build the world's largest hedge fund,
and now to warn us about what lies ahead.
Are you optimistic about the future of the UK?
No.
What about the United States?
No.
Why?
Okay. In order to bet on what's going to happen on the global economy, I learned that there's 5 big forces that create a big cycle that's repeated through history, which lasts about 80 years. The first is the money debt force that creates wealth and opportunities gaps. And it's connected to the second force, the internal conflict, where you don't trust the system, causing wars between the left and the right. And it's not easy answers like tax the rich, and we can get into that. But the third is geopolitical force. In other words, international conflict. Then there's acts of nature. And then number 5 is man's inventiveness, particularly of new technologies. Now, the question is, who wins the technology war? Because the winner of that determine how the new world order works.
Is it something to be concerned about?
No. The question is how you as an individual handle it.
How do I as an individual handle it?
So there's building your financial strength, flexibility, importance of being open-minded, and how to get more out of a minute, not how to work harder. And I really urge your audience to learn all of this. So first of all,
I see messages all the time in the comment section that some of you didn't realize you didn't subscribe. So if you could do me a favor and double check if you're a subscriber to this channel, that would be tremendously appreciated. It's the free thing that anybody that watches this show frequently can do to help us here, to keep everything going in this show in the trajectory it's on. So please do double check if you've subscribed. And thank you so much, because in a strange way, you're part of our history and you're on this journey with us. And I appreciate you for that. So yeah, thank you. Ray, I want to describe to you who's listening right now. And the question I have for you is, what is the most important thing that this persona of person should be thinking about at the highest level right now. So the person that's listening is someone who is intent on improving their life. They're really interested in business, potentially starting their own business. They care about where they're investing their time and energy, and also where they're setting up their home based on, in terms of geography. They are aspiring to accomplish some goal. They're probably between the age of 18 and 50, predominantly. And they are very, very interested in understanding what's happening in a world that feels incredibly scary, fast-paced, and uncertain at the moment. This is a very difficult question. But if I was going to ask anyone, it would have to be you. What's one of the first things they should be considering at this moment to safeguard their future, their family, their finances?
I don't think it's a difficult question. I think it's very clear. They have to understand how the life cycle works. Okay. They have to understand how it works. We were just talking before, in the book, and there was the arc of the life cycle, right? And you have to understand that you're on an adventurous journey, okay? And you have a certain nature, those qualities that make you have your preferences and so on. And then you're going after the things that you like, and you're learning, and it's going to have the ups and downs and so on, and how you approach that. So you asked from the higher level, if I'm looking down, like that life cycle, that arc, what's that journey like? How do you approach it? What are your principles? How do you even learn how to approach it? That's why we're having these conversations, right?
Yep.
So that's clear. What's your nature? How's the journey? How do you find the path that's suitable to your nature? And then you'll go down that path and you'll discover and you'll evolve. What's that like? That's what they need to know.
You said, what's your nature? What do you mean by nature?
People are born with, and then also their environment creates their different nature, We have our preferences, our inclinations. We think in a certain way. You chose to be entrepreneurial, okay? You're living out your nature, okay? This isn't for somebody else. Some people have a different nature, okay? They would like to have the stability of a job and clarity and so on. So when you have your nature, you want to know that and then find the path that is going to be good for your nature. Then there's the particular tactical stuff. So if you would ask me, should I be in the UK or should I be in the US? Well, that depends on a lot of things, but that's a tactical question.
So if I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to build a technology company, do you think I should be in the UK or the US?
I think you should be in the US.
Why?
The US has a culture of entrepreneurship, inventiveness. There's a whole different culture, like in Europe, generally speaking, and in the UK. There's an establishment culture, right? And here, you could be 25, have a blue streak in your hair, and have the talent. But if you got the talent to pull it off, you can get the resources and you can be an entrepreneur. There's a culture of that. That means that it's happening more. That's why you even see the differences in the economies, okay? Where is the inventiveness really happening? Okay, it's happening here. So I would say if you want to be an entrepreneur, this is an environment that's particularly conducive to being an entrepreneur.
So what is your honest perspective about the UK at the moment?
The UK has a financial problem. The government has a debt problem. And it doesn't have enough money for what it wants to do and what it can do. And so what you see is the non-dom problem, people moving, and so on and so forth. And throughout history, when you have these sorts of things, then there's great clashes in people, okay? And the UK has been in decline since the war. Even the development of the capital markets, can you raise capital there? All of these things are much worse than they are in the United States.
And it leads to clashes, you said?
Of course. There are 5 big forces that create a big cycle that lasts about 80 years, give or take 50, let's say. And the 5 big forces are, there's a money, debt, economy force, okay? Debts are spending power. So what happens is when you give somebody credit, they can spend. But it also produces debt. And debt has to be paid back. And so what happens is if there's not enough income to pay back the debt, then you have debt rising relative to income. It squeezes out spending. People don't want to hold the debt assets and so on. The UK is going through that and has gone through that, and it's connected to the second force. And we're all going through this in varying degrees. The second force is the internal political and social force. In other words, like between the left and the right, with wealth gaps and opportunities gaps. We have big wealth and opportunities gaps. So when you have big wealth and opportunities gaps, there's conflict. Okay, conflict between the left and the right. And when you get to the situation where you don't believe the system is working for you and you don't trust the system, then there are wars, there are internal conflicts over that and so on. So the third force is the geopolitical force. In other words, there's a cycle that usually goes from one big war to another big war. So the last war ended in 1944, and we began a new order in 1945. And the way that works is that the winners of the war determine how the world order works. They draw borders, they say, here's how it's going to work, and that's the new order. Okay. And that continues until there's a rising power challenging an existing power in the existing world order, which typically is deteriorating at that time. And then you have international conflict. Okay. These orders, there's a monetary order, they all break down. There's an internal political order, they all break down. And there's a geopolitical order. They all have this conflict and they work together. The fourth force throughout history has been acts of nature. Droughts, floods, and pandemics, for example, have killed more people than wars. And acts of nature. Nature has a big effect. And then number 5 force is man's inventiveness, particularly of new technologies. Okay, because if you see that inventiveness, that has raised per capita incomes, GDP per capita, any measures of the living standards over a period of time, and so on. But it is also related to the first 4 that I said. Those four forces interact. Now, when we go back to your UK case, okay, they have a financial problem. They and almost every country now is dealing with more of that internal political problem for the same reasons. Wealth gaps, opportunities gaps, what do we do? Who's got the power? I don't trust the system kind of thing. Okay, number 3 is we are certainly in an international great powers conflict, right? And it certainly affects Europe and the UK as we're dealing with not only the Ukraine situation, but the Russian situation. And what does that mean? And that relates to the money thing because, okay, where's the money coming from to have defense or military expenditures and so on and so forth? So that matters, right? The geopolitical matters. Climate certainly matters. And then, of course, technology and inventiveness. So everything can be looked at through that lens.
And so what does this mean for the UK if all other countries are going through this as well? Doesn't that just mean that all countries are going to suffer equally?
No, because they're not all equal. Okay, some are more in debt than others. Okay, some people are more willing to hold their debt than others. Some means they have more resources. Some are bigger and more powerful. Some are less powerful. They're different. Okay, they're all in different conditions. Some countries have surpluses. Some countries, are not in the middle of where they're having a war.
Are you optimistic about the future of the UK at the moment?
No.
Because it has high debt, it has the social internal conflict, it's affected by the geopolitical factors, and in terms of inventiveness, it doesn't have the culture that other countries have, like the US. Is that?
Yes, the culture and the capital markets to support that at a scale that it needs to be supported to play seriously in the game.
And for anyone that doesn't know capital markets, I mean basically the investor markets, isn't it? It's a way of saying.
Well, I mean, it gets you the money. In other words, you're a guy behind, what happens is we have to enable people. Okay. What works is finding great people, talented people, and identifying those who you want to bet on and enabling them. And that works. That's the most important force, much more important than money. Okay. Because you could see who's got the money and power and where did they come from? Where did NVIDIA come from? Where did they all come from? Okay. They're guys like you, entrepreneur in a sense, who's been enabled, okay, because you have the talent, people want to bet on you, and that's the capital market. So they give you money to help enable you because they want to bet on you, and then good things happen.
But are you optimistic about the United States at the moment?
The United States is very much a big picture. No, I think it's very much in this issue. So if I go down my list, it definitely has this debt, money, economy problem. We can get into that. Okay. It definitely has the internal conflict power in which there's a fight between the left, the hard left and the right due to wealth and values gaps and people not believing that the system will work for them. And so democracy is at risk because they don't believe this. They're not going to follow the rules in the sense they don't believe the rules are going to. Number 3, it's of course the leading one side in this great power conflict of the world. Right? In other words, yes, between the United States and the one side, let's say, and China and the allies, their allies on the other side. I mean, in the news, you just saw the meetings of Xi, Putin, Modi, and that group over there walking down, and okay. So now it should be pretty clear how the sides are lining up. Okay? It's always better to be in a place that's not in one of those wars. Like, stay out of wars. And of course, climate has an effect. And of course, then we have technology. The United States and China are in the big technology competitions. The others are really not in the game. They don't have the money, this innovation and talent, in a sense, to play at that scale, and so on. So we have a great, technology war, which can be used to create great advances, but at the same time could be used for great conflicts. And so now the question is going to be who wins the technology war, because the winner of the technology war is going to win all wars. Okay. In other words, they'll win the economic war. They'll win the geopolitical war because technology. And I'm not saying anything that hasn't repeated through history.
Give me that historical context if you can, just for people.
The technology, for example, nuclear.
Yeah.
Nuclear won World War II.
And does this cycle go back further than just...
Oh, no, it goes back. That book, okay. In order to understand these things, because I have to bet on what's going to happen, I'm a global macro investor, I studied the last 500 years of history. And it happens over and over again in all cases. So I could take the British Empire, I could take you through all the empires, but the Dutch Empire before that and all this, and it happens all the time.
I watched your videos about this, and it was truly fascinating how predictable this stuff is, and the work that you've done to uncover this trend throughout history. I mean, it's almost, for me, it was almost irrefutable watching the evidence in I think it's like a 40-minute video on YouTube where you show how this is played out through empires. And it begs the question, because when you live in the United States, when you're in the present time, you almost never assume that the empire you're in could fall. You don't see how it could happen. We're so strong, we're so great, we're so doing AI over here, have money over here, everything's good, the sun's shining. It's inconceivable.
Of course. People always think that the future would be a slightly modified version of the present. And it's not. Okay, watch over decades. But it's like watching a person grow.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You watch your kid or you watch a person and your age, any age.
My parents.
And that's what you see.
Yeah.
Okay? And you don't see the life arc.
Yeah.
Okay, but the life arc is irrefutable.
But do you think it's conceivable that in the next 50 to 100 years, the US could no longer be the dominant power globally?
Yeah. Yeah, more than conceivable.
More than conceivable. What do you mean by more than conceivable?
I mean that these evolutions always take place, and they take place in a certain way, and that if you look at the probabilities and the paths and the symptoms, there is a challenge. The United States is facing a number of those challenges, and we're at a moment where it's a question of whether the system and the people can get control of the situations and deal with it strongly and well in a way where they are not fighting to the point of damaging each other and damaging the prospects for the future.
But I mean, the United States is very innovative. Got all these great innovative companies here, so surely...
Yeah, but you can't make generalizations about the United States, and you can't make generalizations, by the way, about the markets either. What you see is 1%, a small percentage, 1% of the population, if you're looking at the breakdown of incomes and also you're looking at the innovation, the stock markets, which stocks are doing well, who owns those companies, and all of that. About 3 million people in a country of 330 million people are really unbelievably doing great. And you could pick the neighborhoods they're in and what they're doing. And then there's the top 10%, let's say, which is the people around them. And they're really, really doing great in that world. At the same time, the bottom 60% of Americans have below a 6th grade reading level.
Wow.
And that population, in terms of the basics, being productive, you have to be productive and be prosperous. So what you need to have a successful society is to have broad-based productivity and prosperity. Okay, and that's a problem. Okay, so which America are you looking at? And are you watching the war that's happening between these?
It's a little bit complicated for me as a bit of an outsider, because I see Trump saying he represents those people. but obviously Trump is from the billionaire class himself. So, I mean, is he a savior for inequality? Is he correcting inequality?
I think he sees a lot of the problem, and I think he sees the debt problem. I think he sees the internal conflict disorder problem, and I think he represents the red. Let's call it the red states. I mean, you look at a map, and there's red and blue, and you see where they are. Okay, and he represents that, and they're united behind him in terms of doing some things. Okay, so he represents, let's call it the red side, which is located where the map shows red, and then there are the blue. And he views himself as somebody who needs to take charge and to do certain things. Others in that population would say those who, let's say, are not getting or having the food stamp program cut off, or having other programs cut off that they're dependent on, would say, wait a second, that's not representing me. And so that population has gone to significant number behind him that are devotees. They're all in. Okay. At the same time as we have the other side, which will have their devotees. If, we're in New York City. Okay. And the upcoming mayoral election will be an example of the two sides. Okay. And they will try to use the system, but there's a question: will the system have enough support to work? Okay, but that's what we have.
Just to close off on this point of the UK in particular, if you were to try and fix it, what would you be aiming at? I say this because we do have a millionaire exodus that's widely reported in the UK, where I think this year we're set to lose roughly 16,000 millionaires. When you look at the big countries like China, America, the UAE, the UK, we're losing more millionaires than anybody else. And I was wondering if you think it's fixable, and if you were in charge of the UK, what you might aim at first. It's different,
First of all, if you go back to the basic problem, which is there's too much debt, there are deficits, there's differences in education and opportunity levels, and so on. The most important thing that you can have is a strong middle.
Political middle. To be analytically strong, and also strong enough to get the people to do what needs to be done, even if they don't want to do it, to get to be productive. Now, that's an easy thing to say. It's not an easy thing to do, but you do need that strong middle, and you do need to convey to people that you need to have this strong middle to change productivity. And, and are you in it? Are you in it? Are you patriotic and in it? And, but you look at history, how did the United States come to be the United States? People will go to the places that are better than them than stay in the places that are worse for them. This is fundamental, right? Incentives.
Okay. So you have to make the place better. Okay. Now, I would say also you can take pockets and they go into the pocket and let it spread out. But you also have to have this equal education, or, you've got to strive for equal opportunity. But anyway, it's a difficult question that I'm afraid I'm incapable of solving.
It was unnerving to hear the tone of your voice drop when I asked it. You seemed slightly as if you've kind of given up on the UK a little bit. Your facial reaction.
No, I'm a practical guy. I'm a realistic guy. I made my money. I'm in the business, and it's my nature to try to be realistic and to bet on how things will transpire. And that's not healthy. The situation in the UK is not healthy. And the situation in the United States is very risky in many ways. It's what we're describing. So, and then if you look where are people going, then you see the places that have the qualities we're talking about. They're civil. They're creative. The people aren't at war with each other.
Well, what happens next in history?
Well, usually there's a big fight for control.
Political revolutions and things like that.
The system breaks down.
3 เหตุผลทำไมต้องมีท็อปเปอร์รุ่นพรามไว้ครอบครองเป็นอีกหนึ่งสิ่งนะคะที่รู้สึกว่าลองแล้วอยากจะให้ทุกคนรู้จักจริงๆหลังจากได้ลองนอนแล้วนะคะรู้สึกว่าต้องมาบอกต่อแล้วแหละ ใครนะคะที่ยังนอนเตียงเก่าเตียงแข็งเนี่ยลองตัวนี้ได้เลยนะไม่ผิดหวังแน่นอนค่ะเหตุผลข้อ1เลยนะคะเขาช่วยให้นอนสบายหายปวดหลังค่ะเพราะตัวท็อปเปอร์ของเขานะคะรองรับตามหลักสรีรศาสตร์เรียกได้ว่าช่วยซัพพอร์ตทุกท่านอนนะคะเหตุผลข้อ2นะคะเพราะวัสดุทำจากไฮเปอร์เมมโมรี่โฟมค่ะนุ่มคืนตัวได้ดีมากและยังช่วยลดการตื่นกลางดึกด้วยค่ะมันนุ่มจนอยากให้ทุกคนสัมผัสเองอะตัวปลอกหุ้มเขาทำจากแอร์เทคนะคะนอนแล้วรู้สึกเย็นแล้วก็ระบายความร้อนและความชื้นได้ดีมากด้วยตัวแถบกันลื่นด้านใต้ของเขาเนี่ยจะบอกว่ายึดกับตัวที่นอนเราได้ดีมากๆเลยนะคะและอีกหนึ่งความปังของเขานะคะก็คือตัวนี้เขาไม่เก็บไรฝุ่นและแบคทีเรียเลยเป็นอีกหนึ่งอย่างนะคะที่อยากจะให้ทุกคนเนี่ยได้ลงทุนกับตัวเองนะเพื่อการนอนหลับที่ดียิ่งขึ้นไปอีกใครกำลังตามหาท็อปเปอร์ดีๆอยู่แล้วก็อีกขอแนะนำเลยนะคะท็อปเปอร์โชวารุ่นพรามตัวนี้ดีแน่นอน
When we touch here, maybe just try this, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that feels nice. Yep, that's good. So just do that because it feels comforting. Because when you were a baby, your mother held you in her arms and she touched you here and it hardwired you to produce delta waves. What I'm going to do with you, Mabel, if it's okay, is I'm going to do a process which is called a psychosensory therapy. Now, you may have seen there's a number of these about. There's one where you look up and move your eyes about. Not too impressed with that. There's another where you tap on various parts of the body. Pretty good. But the best one of the lot involves a touch of here, 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 and lateral eye movement. So not looking up, which is alpha, looking side to side, which is delta, right? Because when you get traumatized, what happens is a 100 hertz wave travels from the thalamus and phosphorates what's called the AMPA receptors, right? A little technical, I know. But when we touch here, to produce delta waves.
Ray Mash was struck on the head at a construction site and developed the incredibly rare disorder of hysterical blindness. He was unable to see anything for 8 years. When I began working with him, it took some months before he could start to see images again, and then eventually, one day in a session, he could see his wife's face. How did I do it?
Hello, I'm Paul McKenna, and I've been studying the human mind for over 30 years.
Number one name in the UK now is Paul.
Please welcome Paul McKenna.
Paul McKenna. Paul McKenna will
Paul's hypnotic powers.
Paul McKenna's thinking.
Paul McKenna thinking.
Back in the early 90s, I had a comedy hypnotism show that was watched by hundreds of millions of people all over the world. I'd hypnotize people to think they were a ballerina or a Martian from outer space, and I was using hypnosis purely for laughs. Then I moved into helping people to use hypnosis for better things, to quit smoking, lose weight, and overcome phobias by reprogramming their minds. That's when I started getting extreme cases. For example, the veteran who'd had PTSD for 7 years and kept waking up screaming at 3 a.m. The lady with a fear of heights so bad she couldn't even climb a stepladder.
Because they don't trust the system. So, will the legal system resolve that? Will the parliamentary system resolve these disputes satisfactorily to the satisfaction of those people and the other people who have different points of view? And the sides won't believe it. And this goes back to Rome. It goes back to Caesar, the Senate. And, this goes back through history all the time, right? In the 30s, 4 major democracies chose to be autocracies, okay? That happened in Italy, Germany, Spain, and Japan.
What's autocracy for anyone that doesn't know the word?
Well, it means a dictatorship, essentially, of a limited number of people at the top who are autocratic, which means that they are directing things rather than a democracy in which there's representatives of all different points of view that get together and follow rules to make decisions.
So the UK could become an autocracy, as could the US, I guess.
You're going to see a lot of pressure for that strong leader who will get control of things and make it work well. And and you're likely to see 2 different views as to which side, the red and the blue sides, so to speak. You're likely to see that type of clash.
You said the US is playing a risky game itself. Is that from a debt perspective or otherwise?
Well, from these things,
okay.
From the debt, from the internal conflict, from the changing world order, the geopolitical world conflict. I don't know, we're playing with nuclear weapons and, in wars in different places. And then, of course, climate, and then the technology war, how we're doing that, you know.
I saw that image the other day of Putin and President Xi in China together, walking together. If China does become the dominant force in the world, the dominant power, is that a smooth transition?
First of all, I don't think either side is going to be the clearly dominant power for a very long time. And the quickest way to have it is some kind of a war, and that's a dangerous thing. But maybe it evolves, hopefully, the way the Soviet Union evolved, that the worry of mutually assured destruction keeps everybody not having that kind of war. And then the systems, one system or another system, wins. But that's an evolutionary process. And, you know, I can't say
Do you think much about timeframes? Because when I was going through the changing world order, there seems to be somewhat consistent or predictable timeframes when these transitions happen. Do you think about where we are?
Well, they're long-term big cycles, right? It's like a life cycle. On average, they are about a life cycle, about 80 years. But it's not predetermined, just like your life cycle is not predetermined. Like if you take care of yourself and you know, I don't know, don't smoke, eat well, exercise, and so on and so forth, then you will probably have a longer life cycle than if you don't take care of yourself. And it's kind of like that, you know, and so you see them in history, they evolve, but you can see the symptoms. Okay, you can see the actions and the symptoms, which, like taking a physical, then gives you a sense of where they are in their life cycles.
We're 80 years from World War II.
80 years from World War II, yeah.
And you're seeing the symptoms?
Yeah. Symptoms are clear. They're all in that book. You can see the charts of all the systems.
Is it something to be worried about or concerned about if you're in the United States?
No shit. I mean, yes. And then the question is how you as an individual handle it.
How do I as an individual handle it?
Well, first of all, I think you have to be aware of the situation and the risks.
For me and my family, though, in terms of risks and how I should counteract those risks, is it a case of me saving for a rainy day?
That's part of it.
Yeah.
There's a saying in Hong Kong, a Chinese saying, which is a smart rabbit has 3 holes. And what that means is you can see, is it the UK or the US? And I can then move to the better place and get out of the place that's a terrible place. So can I successfully be an immigrant or whatever and change my location throughout history? That's been important. So the ability to go to good places and away from bad places. So that's part of it. Secondly, building your financial strength is important, which has to do with how you earn, spend, and save. That will determine the amount. And then what you do with that amount is invest. And so how you invest is also important. So if you have your financial ability and you can make the move, and then you have knowledge, you know, about what's happening so that you can change things, those are the things you need.
So on that first point about a smart rabbit having 3 holes, is it therefore a better decision at this point in time to not buy a house? Because a lot of people end up buying a house and anchors them to a place. And it means that they then have to pay into a mortgage. So a lot of financial advice most of us have growing up is when you get enough money to buy a house, move in, pay that mortgage for 25 years. But if I'm in a new economy, in a new world, and flexibility and the ability to get up and go and move, is there's value to that.
The ability to move capital matters. And if you look at history, this has been an important consideration. Yes, so it matters. So if you're nailing yourself down and that's your primary capital and it's nailed down there, then does limit your flexibility.
And on the point of earning, spending, and saving, I wonder what you're a father, aren't you?
Yeah.
What advice are you giving to your children about earning money in the current world? Where they should set up their shop, the skills that are most valuable to acquire, the technologies. We talked about the US being one of the better places to build your career for all the reasons you described.
Well, that's kind of like the particular that you asked me for that's below the level of the higher level. Okay. The higher level is I have a principle. Make your work and your passion the same thing and don't forget about the money part. Okay. If you make your work and your passion the same thing so that you're really enjoying your work, you'll have an enjoyable, satisfactory life, and you'll probably be better at your career. That as a result, you probably advance and so on. So you have a happier life and you will have probably a more successful life. But it is true that the careers that you choose will have financial implications. And if you say, I want to be a poet or something along those lines, you better consider the financial implications of that. That doesn't mean that you have to go make a ton of money, because I think I think a lot of people fall into that trap, that they think the money is like vast amounts of money is vast amounts of success. And that's not true. In other words, is your work and your passion the same thing? So I think that what brings people happiness is meaningful work and meaningful relationships. Okay. If you have meaningful work, that you're into and your passion and your work's the same thing, and you have meaningful relationships, whether through that work or beyond, you're going to have probably a great life. Okay. And so you have to keep that in mind. And it doesn't have much correlation past a certain level of money. It doesn't have much correlation with that well-being, with the amount of money you have. And if you see studies across societies, and you'll see that past that certain basic level, there's no correlation between the amount of money they have and how much happiness they have or well-being, okay? That the highest level of correlation across societies and studies of happiness and well-being is community. Do you have a sense of community? Do you have those around you who are your community? You'll live longer that way. You'll have a more joyous life, and it'll be a better outcome. But anyway, so thinking about those things, I think, is important.
Based on your life cycle in this book, Principles, Your Guided Journey, Create Your Own Principles to Get the Work and Life You Want, do you think you have to play different games in different seasons of your life cycle as it relates to generating wealth? And what I'm talking about here is really like risk profile, or what I should be optimizing for. Should I be trying to hang around with Ray Dalio, or should I be focusing on the job that pays me the most?
First of all, the answer is yes. And the second question you asked, the answer is that you should be around the people who are the best people to teach you, to operate by the mentors and the learnings and so on. You should be around the best people. And when I say best people, I mean people of good character and good capabilities, okay? And so you should be around the best, not the job that pays you the most. And I could explain why that is. And yes, in terms of that arc, you will play it differently at different parts of your life cycle. So in the early part of your life cycle, what you're going to do is, the more learning and experiencing is the most important thing that you can do in the early part of your life cycle. It's like you're going to make your choices. What direction am I going to be in? And so on and so forth. So learn, okay, that's most important. And then what you're at the end of your life cycle, you're pretty much relieved from all of that. You're not going to be working to earn, okay? You're going to be free of all of that. You're going to have, and you have freedom of choices and so on. And you're going to be thinking about transitioning. How do I transition well-being, or how do I transition my wealth, or how do I transition and so on? That's where you are. Still, learning is a joy, but at the same time, in terms of trying to accomplish, it's not the same at your late part of your life cycle as it is in your early part of your life cycle.
So I want to ask about your early life cycle and what the most important strategic or wealth-generating decisions you made that you would encourage everybody to consider if their nature is aligned to yours.
Okay. My nature was I hated school. I didn't like the whole thing of remembering this and then give it back to me. And there were these, history like there's William the Conqueror in 1066, and what did he do? And, like all of that was what education represented. And when I was 12, a kid, I earned money with odd jobs like I had a paper route, and I mowed lawns, and I caddied. And I took my caddying money. And when I was 12, everybody was talking about the stock market, so I put some money in the stock market. I didn't know what I was doing, of course, but I picked the stock. That was the only stock I ever heard of that was selling for less than $5 a share. And my reasoning was I could buy more shares, so if it went up, I could make more money. Okay, that was a stupid criteria, but it was a company that was about to go bankrupt, and another company acquired it, and it tripled in price. And I said, I like this game. So I got hooked on the game. I'm still hooked on the game, right? So I liked it. Okay, that affected me. So I barely got into C.W. Post College, and then I went to Harvard Business School, and that opened my eyes to the world in many ways because of who were there and what it was like and all that, the best and the brightest kind of thing. But I always still traded markets because I always played the game. I can tell you stories. Do you want a couple of quick stories?
100%.
Okay. So I'm clerking on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange between graduating from college and in the summer, between graduating from college and going to Harvard Business School. And that is the summer of 1971. And on August 15th, 1971, Richard Nixon gets on the television and says that, you know, the promise that you were going to be able to take your paper money and go get gold? You can't do that. And we're going to cut that off. He didn't say it in exactly those words, but money then was gold. And what we think of as paper money, fiat money, was claims on the gold. So I walked on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange that summer, and I thought the market was going to go down a lot, and the market went up a lot. And I didn't understand why, because I never went through a devaluation before. And I studied history, and I found that in March of 1933, Roosevelt got on the radio and made the exact same announcement that you're not going to get your gold, and they're going to print the money. And when you print a lot of money, you have that. Okay, so I learned that history of things that never happened in my lifetime before were important things to understand. Okay, I went back then to Harvard Business School for 2 years. And 2 years later, as a result of all the printing of money and the oil shock, because of all of that, we had the 1973 oil shock. And now, because of my background, I'm hired to be director of commodities at a Wall Street brokerage firm. Okay, and then all sorts of things happened, turbulence and so on and so forth. That firm went broke. I went to another firm, and I was rowdy. I wasn't your typical good employee, follow everything. And so I got fired. And that was in 1975. And then clients all liked me for things. And so they would pay me for advice, and I continued to trade the markets. And that's when I formed Bridgewater. Okay. That was 1975. I just passed along Bridgewater 50 years later.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a journey there that has failures and successes and learnings. I have a principle. Pain plus reflection equals progress. Okay? Your best learnings come from the pain. It's a message. Pay attention. Learn how reality works and how to deal with it differently, so you have principles for dealing with reality better. And I learned that process. And from that process, my company, Bridgewater, became the largest hedge fund in the world, extremely successful.
Managing how much?
$150 billion. 1,500 people, $150 billion.
And that's made you a very wealthy man?
It made me a very wealthy man, which, by the way, was not my intention. Okay? I just wanted to play the game and to have meaningful work and meaningful relationships. That was paramount. But it happened to be the game I played. If you're good at the game, you make a lot of money. And now I'm at a stage in my life where I want to pass things along. I need to pass things along, right? So hence the books, hence our conversation. Mm-hmm. And here we are. That's the life arc. But I learned a lot. And so that's the journey.
Hello.
What's your name?
I named Tom.
Do you mean my name is Tom?
Yes, perdón.
Where are you from?
I'm from New York.
Do you mean I am from New York?
Yes, sorry.
How old are you?
I do 27 years.
Do you mean I am 27 years old?
Oh, Dios mío. How do I get better in English?
You have to practice every single day.
But I don't have anyone to practice with.
Practicing with an A. iTutor Like Me is affordable, easy, and will make you fluent in 3 months.
Nice. How do I level up my English?
Take the free quiz by clicking on this video. In 3 months, you'll be able to have conversations fluently, understand English movies, and land better job opportunities.
I think B2B marketers keep making this mistake. They're chasing volume instead of quality. And when you try to be seen by more people instead of the right people, all you're doing is making noise, but that noise rarely shifts the needle, and it's often quite expensive. And I know, as there was a time in my career where I kept making this mistake, that many of you will be making it too. Eventually, I started posting ads on our show sponsors platform, LinkedIn, and that's when things started to change. I put that change down to a few critical things. One of them being that LinkedIn was then, and still is today, the platform where decision makers go to, not only to think and learn, but also to buy. And when you market your business there, you're putting it right in front of people who actually have the power to say yes. And you can target them by job title, industry, and company size. It's simply a sharper way to spend your marketing budget. And if you haven't tried it, how about this? Give LinkedIn ads a try, and I'm going to give you a $100 ad credit to get you started. If you visit linkedin.com/diary, you can claim that right now. That's linkedin.com/diary. Just for context, people don't like talking about money, and I understand it, but you're a prolific philanthropist. Also, Google says that your net worth is in the tens of billions of dollars. And I'm sure there's some people that have clicked on this conversation and aren't aware of the scale of wealth you built up and the scale of Bridgewater Capital and how prolific and famous it is in the investing world. In that 50-year life arc, one of the things you mentioned is pain. All of us will encounter pain. And you said pain plus reflection equals progress. How have you learned to deal with pain? You've had a lot of pain in all facets of life because you've lived the life arc and you continue to. What's the best principle for dealing with pain?
First of all, to calm yourself down and to get centered. Meditation has had a big beneficial effect on my life. We can get into meditation in a minute of how it has, but the ability to, in a sense, calm yourself down and when the time is right, to reflect on what's happened, both to understand how reality works. You want to be a hyper-realist. I understand how reality works, therefore I need to do this under this set of circumstances, which means developing principles. And so what I did when I would do that, anytime, whenever I would think, what should I do, whether painful or not, I would pause, reflect on, what should I do if that happened again? And that's how I would write down my principles. And what I did was I wrote down a lot of principles. A lot of principles. If this happens, that happens, and whatever. And then, so I wrote these principles down. And then I found that in investing, if I can computerize those decision rules, I could backtest them, see how they would have worked, and so on. So I built systems, decision-making systems. Computer would make decisions. So it was AI before LLMs, but it was AI to have decision-making criteria. So it would be like I would make a computer chess game that would play while I am playing my mental chess game, what moves we would make. And it's completely automated and so on. But what I'm trying to say is that reflecting on how does reality really work and what do I do when this happens to that happens is the development of principles. And that has been invaluable. And it also makes me see things differently. Because a lot of people, and if I didn't do this, I would be, seeing almost as a blizzard of things coming at me. Instead, I see everything as another one of those. So let's say, for example, it's a species. So it's like seeing, okay, that's what kind of species is it? And how do I deal with that species? So it's one of those rather than just a lot of things coming at me.
Pattern recognition.
But let's say if you think of it's a duck.
Okay.
Oh, okay, it's a duck. How do I deal with the duck? Or it's a lion. Okay, how do I deal with a lion? Rather than just a lot of things coming at it. So this principle thinking and seeing it that way had a big effect on the quality of my decision making, and that helped.
Two questions I had there is, to become a principled thinker, I need to do more reflection, right? And then the other thing is,
think about how does the machine, how does life, how do these things work? So that's what I mean. Okay.
And to write that down.
Write down your thoughts. I find sometimes what I would do is I'd dictate them into my iPhone. Okay. I'd say, no. Okay. This is how, when you're making a decision, why did you make that decision? So not just make a decision, but think about the criteria you're using to make the decision.
Also my emotions, my trauma, my insecurities, my anxiety.
Right. And you might say, when reflecting on that, is that helpful? Is that harmful? And what do I do about that? Like, for example, what you're referring to is, yes, that emotions and the things and all of those you have to understand that basically the brain's got two parts to it, right? It has the logical part of your brain, reasonable, tries to reason things through, and that which is conscious. And then it has the subconscious mind, which is the subliminal that is really driving you. And so when you can reflect, okay, how are my emotions entering into it? What do I, and so on. And you can think and you can align that. That's very powerful. And meditation, by the way, naturally does that, because what you do when you meditate, and maybe a time's coming I should explain meditation, okay, how it works. What you do is it's a process by which you sit quietly and you repeat in your mind what is called a mantra, which is a sound that it's a word that has no meaning. Let me say the most classic example of that would be Om. Okay, so you quietly there and you go, with your breath, you go, Om, Om, like that. But you need to be taught. But anyway, Om. When you're doing that, because your Om is in your mind or your mantra is in your mind, you're not able to have other thoughts. You'll see yourself wavering between doing that and staying on the mantra and then having thoughts. And then you go back to your mantra. When you are in the mantra a lot, then it disappears. The sound disappears and you go into your subconscious mind. That's what they call transcendental meditation. It's the type of meditation I do. And so you go there and you're not in a conscious state and you're not in a unconscious state. You're in a conscious state. So it's subconscious state. It's not unconscious is you're sleeping. Conscious is that you're awake like we are. You're in this. So it's a different state. Like if you hear that noise, you would hear that noise. It would be big, and not when you're sleeping. But when you're in your subconscious state, then it's relaxing, it's helpful. And this process helps to bring your conscious state and your subconscious state into alignment. In other words, you recognize both and it calms you down. It's like the ninja in the ninja movies, they're fighting, but it seems in slow motion. The camera shows them in slow motion and they're doing whatever they're doing along that. It kind of makes you in that kind of state of mind so that you're dealing with what's coming at you in that way. And so what you referred to is these things that happen, and how you deal with those is really important to the quality of your decision making.
How influential was transcendental meditation in your success?
Oh, enormously successful, enormously significant, very, very, very significant. In other words, that way of seeing things.
And how often?
And by the way, I would say there's a serenity prayer. The serenity prayer is, God, give me the serenity to accept that which I can't control, and give me the power to control that which I can, and the wisdom to tell the difference. Okay? And so to how you approach these things, we're talking about reflection. You asked me reflection. Okay? If you can reflect in that quality way, then you deal with anything. And I've dealt with the worst possible thing. I lost a son. Okay? And I would have rather died. I would have rather lost everything to lose my son. So it's the worst possible thing. And then to see what it did, the damage and the harm from family, terrible. Okay. Then to go through that with meditation, with reflection, and so on, was invaluable. And people have their own challenges, but to be able to do it that way, I really urge your audience, I urge you to learn that. That's very helpful.
How did that tragedy change your perspective and your principles in any way on life, on happiness, on success, on all these things that you've written about?
Well, it's again, I go above it, and you reflect on the life arc, and I realize at that higher level that that's what the life arc is like. You'll in all my books, there's this arcing. This arcing here, here's a bigger version of it. There's this arcing. Okay, I don't know if your camera sees that. Okay, whatever it is. And that's what life and evolution is like to me, meaning you make advances, you will have setbacks. Okay? If you reflect well and you learn how reality works and how you will deal with it, you will get past that and go on. And that's just what it is. That's just the way life is. And if you do that well, then that's your best possible life.
Are you religious? Are you a religious person?
I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual.
Okay.
The Dalai Lama, who I had the pleasure of meeting, told me, and I agree with, that religions are typically a mix between superstitions and spirituality. There's half of it is that element that nobody knows, but there is the way people should deal with each other. There is karma, okay? All religions, there's a part of them that says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, or what goes around comes around. And then you get to the particulars, okay? And it is true that if we work well together, that even little things I can do to help you can make a big difference in your life. And little things that you can do to help me make a big difference in our lives. And so it's practical, and it is also joyous, okay? That creates a relationship. And we talked earlier about how that meaningful relationship is like the source of great happiness. But when you have a community and you do that, you have a better society. And almost all religions will tell you that. There'll be elements of those. And when I believe in spirituality, what I also mean is we're all part of this greater whole. Okay? We're all part of the greater whole. And if you could see yourself as part of the greater whole and love the greater whole and whatever, that is spirituality, really, okay? And so I will go through my life arc, okay, and I will die, and I'm comfortable with that, okay, in that, okay, it's all part of the greater whole, nature and whatever it is. That's true. I can't tell you about other things, but I do believe in the things I just told you.
When it comes to living a successful life, we've talked about having dreams and understanding your nature and aspiring for things, and then understanding reality, which transcendental meditation is a great mechanism and vehicle to do. And in your book about a successful life, you talk about plus determination. Plus determination. Hard work. If I want to be a successful man or woman, how important do you think hard work is?
Well, it gives you power. It's very important, right?
Some people,
I'm not saying they want to choose it, but the irony of things is there are first-order consequences and there are second-order consequences. This is like a rule of life, okay? And most of the time, the first-order consequences, whether they're likable or not, has the opposite second-order consequences. What I mean by that is like eating or exercising, okay? Eat the food you like. Second order consequences probably not going to be good. I don't want to exercise. Second order consequences won't be as good. Okay. Working hard, which gives you strength. Where does strength come from? I mean, strength comes from working hard. So working hard will give you power. Power will make things easier and make things better. That's just the way it is.
And being open-minded while you do it. Something that was really
open-minded.
to you.
Yeah, I say the importance of being open-minded and assertive at the same time. I watch people becoming so tied to their own opinions. Like, this is the greatest tragedy of mankind. The greatest tragedy of mankind, because it so easily can be fixed, is holding a strong opinion that is wrong, that you could have made right, better, if you were open to learning more. If you said, I want to be stress tested. I want my thinking to be stress tested. I want to make sure that I'm making the better decision, and so I'll be challenged. But a lot of people view that challenging like a fight. It's not a fight. If somebody holds a different opinion, it should prompt a curiosity. I don't know. Am I wrong or is they wrong? There's a 50% chance. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. So it should prompt curiosity and an exchange to try to make sure that you're seeing the whole picture and so on. But subliminal instincts are, I'm going to stick with it and I'm going to have a fight. That's a problem.
Because there's too much on the line for so many people to
It's subliminal. It just goes back to the mind thinking that the intellectual challenge is a fight. And it's egotistical, ego. I must be right.
As an investor and entrepreneur, that's obviously particularly important because you're constantly dealing with new information and feedback, which you need to be flexible.
That was one of the two things that changed my my whole direction and made me successful. I can explain it if you want.
Please.
1979 and 80, I had calculated that American banks had lent more money to foreign countries that they were going to be able to pay back and that we were going to have a debt crisis. Very controversial point of view. In August of 1982, Mexico defaulted on its debts. And over the next decade, many other countries did, and it caused bank problems. However, at that time, I thought things were going to get bad, and that was the exact bottom in the stock market, August 1982. So I couldn't have been more wrong. I lost money for me. I lost money for the clients. I lost money. I was so broke that I had to borrow $4,000 from my dad to help to pay for family bills because I was faced with the choice. What am I going to do? And do I go back to work on Wall Street, get a tie, get on the train, and go back to that, which is, again, not in my nature or whatever. And two things changed me. Okay, reflection. First of all, I learned what we were just talking about. I learned humility and fear of being wrong and open-mindedness. So I wanted the smartest people I could find to stress test my opinions because I always realized I could be wrong. And then I learned how to diversify my bets so that I could dramatically reduce my risk without reducing my returns. Okay, that was the bottom. Okay, from that point all the way over, that following those principles took me to the biggest hedge fund in the world, the most successful, and so on, because I applied it to the markets, applied it to what we did, and so on. So that notion of reflection, and then how do you deal with what reality is like, and then, okay, they learn radical open-mindedness. In other words, like there's a principle in the book, you have to take in before you put out, or that decision-making is a two-step process. First take in, then decide. Okay? So yes, open-mindedness doesn't in any way minimize your ability to decide. So you still have the freedom to decide, but it's crazy not to be open-minded.
You recognize that the biggest threat to good decision-making is harmful emotions, and that two-step process is first learn and then make the decision, which is funny because it sounds simple. But when you said it, I think about all the worst decisions I've ever made in business, and I missed step one. I forgot to take a minute and do the evidence gathering or the information gathering process.
Yeah, just smart people who care about your decision say, stress test me.
Why don't we do that?
That ego and also instinct that's a fight.
Is there any advice you would give me on becoming a better decision maker? So I have a fund, I have many businesses. Is there any sort of practical, simple foundations of becoming a better decision maker that we haven't talked about? Get smart people to interrogate my thinking. Be open-minded.
I think we've talked about almost all of them. I think then you have to then know about how to leverage yourself. Okay? In other words, as you do more and more, how do you do more and more when your brain has a capacity limit? Okay? And there's only a certain number of hours in the day or the week. Okay? You have to know how to do that.
Is that focus or is that something?
No. It's knowing how to do it through others. Okay? It's knowing how to pick others and orchestrate well. It's like running a symphony or whatever. Okay? Get the best players. Okay? When I say, good character and good capabilities, and orchestrate them well, and then provide that leverage. Like when I was doing the most, I had 30 direct reports. Whatever the number is, it's always, the process is how to get more out of a minute or a day, not how to work harder. Okay, it's how to leverage yourself, and you're going to leverage yourself by picking the right people who you can trust. They're not going to screw you. They're going to operate in your interest, and they're going to be capable. And so a lot of people, what you can do is you can deal with them, and then you can say, I would deal with them on this 30 reports. I'd have maybe an hour meeting with them once every 2 weeks. And they go off and do things. And when you do that, you can even find people who are much better at things than you would be if you did them. Because if you have these different things, okay, you better, because otherwise you don't have the capacity.
You have these two key challenges to overcome as an entrepreneur, which is find these great, capable people that have great character, and then like bind them with the right culture to make sure that they do the best work.
Right. In other words, it's meaningful work and meaningful relationships through radical truthfulness and radical transparency.
Radical truthfulness and transparency.
Okay. First, if you can have meaningful work and meaningful relationships, the people are on the mission with you. Wow, that's fantastic. But you better be truthful and transparent. That'll show that you're honest, and you better, because you have to get a truth, including what people are bad at and how to deal with all those things. And most people hide them. They don't bring them out into the open. Okay, everybody's worried about hurting each other's feelings or that, and then so they're not honest with each other, and that's the barrier. We talked about the barrier of disagreement. It's like that. Okay, I don't know. Are you good at that? Are you striking out? If you're striking out, and what is it? How do we deal with it? You better talk about that clearly, because you need to have an A team of players. You have to work yourself so your team is an A team of players who are tight.
How did you do that at Bridgewater? How did you make people honest?
Oh, well, first of all, I had a policy: talk behind another person's back critically. If that happens 3 times, you're out. And then I would have radical transparency so everybody could see everything. So you could see why I'm making decisions, and I would reflect. But the main thing is, if it's happening or not. Okay. And I made that comfortable, because that's ordinarily uncomfortable. We talked about the fact that there's an intellectual you and there's an emotional, subliminal you. Okay. I made them understand, like if I had a team, a football team, and so on, that this is going to be better for the team, it's going to be better for you, and you'll have your evolution. Because what do you want to have? Dishonesty? You want people to think one thing about you and really say something different? How is that going to work? So there's an intellectual, okay, we believe it. And then also by having the meaningful relationships. I mean, I don't force them. I create a culture of meaningful relationships so that they have known each other for a long time. They go to each other's parties, or they go to each other's, there are funerals, there are baby showers, there are these things. Not that anybody's fault. I created clubs. I said, any club that you want to create that has more than 20 people, whatever it is, up to $500 per person, I'll pay for half. So I don't care what it is. If it's play softball or play chess or whatever it is that you're enjoying each other's company, or you want to go to ball games or something, I don't care what it is. I'll pay for half up to $500. So nobody has obligations to or something. But if I have that kind of meaningful relationships, so you can talk honestly with each other, I found that very helpful.
And you famously built an idea meritocracy, which in my understanding means where the best idea ends up winning in the company versus just your idea because you're the most powerful person in the business.
Right. I mean, what do I want? I want the best idea to win.
This sounds simple, but again, it's not how businesses operate. One of the fascinations I've always had is that when businesses get bigger and they have more intellectual horsepower if you just added up how many brains they had, they sometimes get less innovative, and it feels like the CEO.
Well, because they become more bureaucratic and more fragmented.
Yeah.
Okay. I found it to be true, and it's well-established fact, that if you get a group of people past a certain size, which is 75 to 100 people, they don't know each other. Okay. They start to become different. And then you lose those relationships, you lose a lot, and so on. I found it because at the holiday season every year, what I would do is I would write everybody long notes in their cards, and I would pick an individualized holiday gift for them. And when it got to be the 67 people, I remember the year, it broke my back. I mean, I just couldn't do it. Okay. And I realized that at that point, I was going into another frame. Okay. And so it's an organizational reality that you can keep that group. And then what you have to do is then you have those different areas, and you have to create cohesiveness between those different, and cohesiveness, common mission, and how do you do that between that? So like, for example, when we would have our holiday party, where it used to be everybody would be sort of go in and you have a holiday party and everybody together. What I found out is we had a big arena that we would go to, and I'd have both. I'd have, that department is in that area and whatever, and then they come out and they all mingle together and so on. So there's an organizational thing that you've got to realize in terms of culture and management of that.
It's like villages in a city, I guess. Like you basically build the villages and then...
Good example, yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Our media company's at that exact point now. It's at that 90 odd people.
Oh, okay, there you are.
So when you said 75 to 100, I was like, interesting.
Yeah.
I was thinking about all the things I should be doing now to counteract some of those adverse effects of the culture splintering or relationships breaking down. But I guess you've described it there. Interesting. And I have to say, one of the things that I found to be I'm 33 years old. I just turned 33 last week. It's crazy how often people say that hiring is the most important thing. Yet when you look at what entrepreneurs are spending their time on, it's usually like the product, the marketing, etc. And it's maybe like 1 or 2 hours, in some cases, if they're lucky, on finding truly exceptional people. They often just outsource it to someone else, the recruitment team. When you think back through your career, how important was it to find truly exceptional people?
Of course. Well, I systemized it. First of all, I think that anything I do or one does can be systemized. So I would think, what are the personalities? What are the backgrounds of the people that I'm hiring? What are the choices? How do I specify it? And I got it by also maintaining a lot of data with people. There's a TED talk I did that explains how, like, data, everybody's going around and they're operating in a certain way. So I know what people are like. If you know what people are like, you know what you can expect of them. And then I would then say, in a very data way, those people who are successful in these jobs have the following attributes that would create a job specifications for that type of job. So I knew that in that type of job, they would be that type of person I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. What works? They work. Okay. Data. And then I would find, that would be my job spec. And so we had the systems, and then we had some people who were responsible for doing that, because you're right, it takes time. How can I interview all those people and so on? But who can you trust? And you're operating that way. And then evaluation process doesn't stop when you hire them. Okay, the evaluation process continues from that moment, and you still learn more about what they're like, and you do that same process and still think, would I still have hired them? And if I wouldn't have hired them, in the first place, then they shouldn't be there. And so I have a process and people and process.
Do people change after a certain point? So if you've hired someone in 6 months, in 12 months, and they haven't changed, is it worth giving them another year? Is it worth a performance review?
I found out that, for me, the big question, mostly, there were two big questions, but the big question is, how do you adapt to my culture? And that would take about 18 months to find out. Like, can you speak honestly about can we have thoughtful disagreement? Do you like this evolutionary process where you're challenged and all of this kind of thing? That culture. That'd take about 18 months. And then, roughly speaking, then learning about the people, their strengths and weaknesses, would take 18 months to 2 years, maybe something along those lines. And so then, you could pretty much decide, but always being open every day by day, so nobody's surprised that you're always talking about things. How's it going?
Make sure you keep what I'm about to say to yourself. I'm inviting 10,000 of you to come even deeper into the Diary of a CEO. Welcome to my inner circle. This is a brand new private community that I'm launching to the world. We have so many incredible things that happen that you are never shown. We have the briefs that are on my iPad when I'm recording the conversation. We have clips we've never released. We have behind the scenes conversations with the guests, and also the episodes that we've never, ever released, and so much more. In the circle, you'll have direct access to me. You can tell us what you want this show to be, who you want us to interview, and the types of conversations you would love us to have. But remember, for now, we're only inviting the first 10,000 people that join before it closes. So if you want to join our private closed community, head to the link in the description below or go to doaccircle.com. It's a really interesting time to be leading a business. New skills are constantly being invented, and ones that didn't exist a few months ago are now all of a sudden essential. Our team at Flight Story thrives on staying ahead of emerging tech and innovation. So whenever we need to plug into those skills of the future, like vibe coding, AI agent development, generative engine optimization, all of the technical things we've talked about on this show before, we always go to the same place, which is Fiverr, our show sponsor, and the place where that future-focused talent quietly shows up before the rest of the world catches on. Their freelancers are reliable, high-performing, and also highly vetted. And you'll find them in over 750 categories. Fiverr isn't just for quick jobs. We use their talent more on complex long-term projects, ones that require an expert to take charge. And you can tap into tomorrow's talent at fiverr.com/diary. And for 10% off your first order, use code diary. AI is a bit of an alien that seems to have entered the room and is going to change almost every industry.
Great. Yeah.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
No, truly. If you are working with it, controlling it, if it's a good partner, to be able to get a lot of leverage, it's truly fantastic. As I said, in almost everything I did, we had the criteria, we had the systemized. Would you do that? Would you not do that? How does reality work? What are the principles? And so it's a fantastic leveraging. Like I described, I would make the decision-making model, like the computer chess game that would make it. Well, now it's better than ever, those resources. So it leverages you enormously.
What about having a strong middle? We talked about having the strong sort of economic, political middle.
Political middle, yeah. Yeah.
Is it going to drive inequality?
Yes, it's going. That's like all things. It's going to be. It has good things and bad things. And we were talking, let's say, first about managing and doing that. I think in managing and knowing what people are like and how they're all, it's going to be very, very valuable. Mostly very valuable. In terms of changing, there'll be a limited number of winners and a bunch of losers, and I think it's going to create much greater polarity, which, as we're seeing through the system, the ways that we talked about, that top 1 to 10% benefiting a lot, and then so that will be a dividing force, I think.
It's got to pose a question. With robotics accelerating at the speed of light, with Optimus and Tesla and all the things they're doing and all these other companies, humanoid robots, and then with artificial intelligence having trillions of dollars plowed into it and accelerating, we're in this crazy boom at the moment. With these two things combining, you're going to be able to have a humanoid robot that can navigate human spaces, but is also smarter than I am. Lawyers, accountants, lots of people in the medical profession. Why would one need them if we had a humanoid robot that is smarter than all of us and has a PhD in everything?
Well, we will not need a lot of those jobs for the reasons that you're saying, okay? And then the question is what our society does.
And what do you think we do in such a world?
I think we fight over about what we do, unfortunately. But as I say, I don't think we have escaped a world where most people, to have a healthy society, most people have to be productive and prosperous. I think people need to be, now certainly, there certainly needs to be a redistribution policy. I don't think that's just a redistribution of money policy, because uselessness and money may not be a great combination. So I think that that has to be figured out. And the question is whether we're too fragmented to figure that out and agree on it. And I'm worried about that.
Interesting times. Is there any historical precedence for this in your view? Someone that knows history, is there any historical precedence for something like AI and robotics converging?
Well, through evolution, we have gone from a period of time, which was called the Dark Ages or the Agricultural Age, in which basically there was land, it's agricultural and so on, and people were treated, they were essentially like oxen, most people. And then there were the landowners who were the nobles, and then there were the royalty who were the families that control most things and so on. And then in history, with the invention of the printing press, there became more knowledge, more intelligence, and we see an evolution in which you start to see new ages emerge and thinking emerge and power change. And I won't take you through the whole history, but you start to see that individuals can be clever enough to earn money. So you begin the age of exploration and the industrial revolutions in which machines replaced people. And it's almost like they first replaced them physically. That, in other words, they were not like oxen doing the thing. So you get a tractor or something, and it's almost like from the body up in terms of the mind. And so you've seen that evolution through time and the rise of intelligence in its various forms go through this arc of rising in intelligence. And now you see that intelligence matters more than anything. Okay. It matters more than money. It matters more than anything because intelligence will attract people, those with money, to invest in the development of that. And so we have seen this arc through history develop in that way, right? And we've seen people replaced. Now, the question is, as we get higher and higher in thinking, okay, whether we've run out of capacity to shift or whether we're just going to be totally replaced. Our muscles have been totally replaced. But okay, as this is happening, our best thinking may be totally replaced. And we're going to have to deal with that question.
Are you hopeful?
I'm excited. I think it all comes down to human nature. Okay, I'm excited in that fast forward, make the most of it, jump on it, woo, I'm excited. I've also watched the evolution of species. Almost all species have come and gone for certain reasons. And one of the reasons that they have come and gone is because almost their strengths are not in all respects great strengths. You can use these things, intelligence, to your detriment. And I believe that the things that these technologies and so on bring us, while very important, it extends life expectancy and all of that, is not as important as human nature. And so if you were to go back in time and we're different societies, do you have happier societies? Is the well-being greater? Okay. So you can go 50 years ago and you might say the well-being is greater 50 years ago, not in all ways, not in many ways, the technologies and the consequences of those are much better, but you may have had a better life. And it's human nature of how people are going to deal with each other. So I think the real question is, can people rise above this? And which it goes back to the spirituality question. Can people then rise above it so that they think of the collective good and they think of, collectively, how do we make the best? And also karma, in other words, the realization that if I help you in ways that can be so simple for me to help you make such a big difference in your life, and you do the same, and we have win-win relationships, it'll be good. But if we don't do that, and I worry about human nature, and I worry about this process.
Especially when you've got geopolitical tensions.
It's because of human nature.
I've had a lot of conversations on the podcast about AI, and I just can't seem to get to my own solid conclusion about this, because when I look at human nature, as you say, I see greed, I see power, hunger, status.
Yeah, some problems, you just accept the fact that you may not be able to be confident about a prediction in the future, so it'll always be a question, and just get on with the fact of using it for yourself in the best way that works for you.
That's what I'm doing. We have a closing tradition on this podcast where the last guest leaves a question for the next, not knowing who they're leaving it for. You know this person, because I've seen you with them. The question they left for you is, what is a book or books that you've recommended or gifted more than others, and why? Can't say your own book.
Right. There are 3 books. There's a book on evolution written by Richard Dawkins, River from Eden, I think it's called. Then a book by Will and Ariel Durant, which are maybe the greatest historians in time, and it's called Lessons from History. It's a very short book. I think it's 104 pages. They wrote massive amounts, about 5,000 years of history and so on, and they sort of condensed their lessons from history. And then Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey.
Is it the Hero with 1,000 Faces?
Yes, that's it. Hero with 1,000 Faces.
And why Dawkins' book? Why did you say that one?
Oh, he understands evolution. Everything is evolving. Okay, all species. Man is one of 10,000 species. I mean, and they're all structured similarly. There's a structure. They like 2 eyes, a brain that has a structure to it, and the same parts of the brain. There's the cerebrum, the cerebellum, the prefrontal cortex. There's this structure that makes you think differently and so on. There's evolution. There's all evolution. So it's not just limited to human evolution or what humans are like. It's the force of evolution. Mankind's only about 200,000 years old. That's in history. That's short. Okay. And the species, and all species evolve. Okay. And it's very interesting. So that's what his books are about. And, I think they're very good.
And Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey, the Hero with 1,000 Faces.
It's about human nature and the evolution of life and the life journey that we're talking about.
What I find so interesting, Ray, is how you draw on principles from other domains, whether it's from nature or biology, as you were talking about there, to tie into your work in business and investing and everything else and life and happiness. And it really says something to me about being more eclectic and be broadly curious in order to be successful in my more narrow domain.
I just, see, I don't, is that to me maybe too much of a specialist kind of mentality, but the world is being interrelated to these things. If you want to understand how reality works, you can't say, I'm going to be just a specialist. I mean, these are all affected by each other.
Thank you so much for writing these books. They are iconic. And the YouTube videos that explain these books are iconic. I don't know who you have on your team that makes the animations and pulls it all together, but not only is the content so important because they are principles, so they're enduring through time, but they're so unbelievably accessible to all people of all ages. And if people haven't read this book, I'd be shocked. But all of these books are fantastic. This book, Principles by Ray Dalio, which I'm going to link all of them below for anyone that wants to read them. I suggest you read them all. Will be formative in your life, even if you're not interested in business or investing, because as it says on the book, they're principles, and the economy affects us all in ways that we might not understand. We're all trying to be successful or happy in our own right, and that's interwoven into all of these books. So thank you. I hope you write more books.
Well, and thank you, because I'm at a stage in my life. This is a symbiotic relationship. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Okay. And my benefit is that I want to pass along these things, and we're doing it together. And I have found, and it's joyous to me, to know that these things have made a big difference in people's lives. People come up to me and they say, thank you for the difference you've made. And, at this stage in my life, that's what I want to do.
I think that's an understatement. I think it's had a profound impact. In fact, every person I know, all of my best friends, have taken something from your work, which has had profound impact on their decision-making, which has led them to be happier in some way. And when I told my friends that I was interviewing you, I'm interviewing 16 people while I'm in New York over the next month. When I told my friends, my best friends in the world, that I'm interviewing you, all of them were telling me to pass on a message of thanks. Because there's something in one of these books that's helped them, and they're all young people in that first season of their life, and there's something in all of these books that's pushed them closer to their success and their happiness. So thank you on behalf of me, because you've had a profound impact on me. But thank you for
giving me that joy.
I know, I mean
you know that. Thank you.
I really, really mean that. Thank you so much, Ray.
สำหรับผิวแพ้ง่ายให้ใช้เป็นตัวนี้เลยสูตร Sensitive Skin จะมีวิตามิน B5 และวัสลินเจลลี่ลดการระคายเคืองและเพิ่มความชุ่มชื้น
Magnum Mini Moments.
Long-term love isn't built in highlight reels. It's built in the quiet moments. Because life is about how you both feel on a Tuesday evening. Life is about how you feel on a Monday morning before work. Life is about how you feel coming home to that person on a Friday night. Life isn't about the vacations. It isn't about the once-a-year trips. It isn't about the wedding day. That's 1% of the experience with this person.
The #1 health and wellness podcast.
Jay Shetty.
Jay Shetty.
The one, the only Jay Shetty.
Hey everyone, welcome back to On Purpose. I'm Jay Shetty, and I am so grateful and so thankful that you've tuned back in. I love seeing your reviews. I love seeing your posts. Keep them coming. It fuels me. It gives me energy. I love bumping into you all on the street. Always say hi. It's meant the world to me. I've been traveling a lot lately, so I've met some of you in Rome. I met some of you in London. I've met people in Paris, all over the world. So keep telling me that you listen to On Purpose. It makes my day, and I love giving you a big hug and saying hello back. Today, I want to talk about something really important. It's everything I wish I knew about love in my 20s. Now, whether you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, all of these messages still apply, and I want you to take them in, because what I find is that love is what we all want in life, but it's also the most misunderstood. It's one of those areas of our life that we all crave, chase, and need, but don't really define and understand deeply. And when I look at my life, I look at how so much of my life around love was defined by what I saw in the movies, the media, and how it was presented to me. The romantic comedies that we watched growing up, the novels, the books, the stories, the music videos, they all defined, they planted seeds into our beliefs and expectations about love. When you watch The Notebook, you see these two people fall in love. But then when you actually look at it closely, you see a character hanging off a Ferris wheel, telling the girl he will let go if she doesn't say yes. Extremely unhealthy, right? Very, very unhealthy. And then when you start to look at a lot of these movies a lot more deeply, you start to see so many unhealthy ideas about love. It's remarkable to me that at the time we just ignored them. Even if you look at movies of Sleeping Beauty, cartoons, where the prince had to come and save the Sleeping Beauty, right? The idea of being saved, the idea of this knight in shining armor, it's no wonder that we're waiting for that person to come through the door and sweep us off our feet. And then, of course, every movie ended with happily ever after. It rarely got into the reality of the fight about washing the dishes, or the money problems that appear, or the fact that the kids are now going to school and how do we want to raise them. All of that was missed in all the movies because it ended with a shot of a car driving off into the sunset and feeling like that was the end and everything was perfect. So we've been sold lies about love from dating to moving in to getting married, because the marriage was the end of the movie, when in reality, moving in and getting married is the beginning of your life together.
In the college setting, this is your first impression, your first time. You want to put your best foot forward. I'm Lauren Taylor. I'm a student in Future CMO, and I am a Grammarly user. One of the most important parts of growing up is starting to develop your communication style. Grammarly is tailored with the priority of preserving your voice as a writer. It helps me shape it to the audience I'm presenting to in the best way it can be presented. Download Grammarly for free.
Formos Omega 369 มี DHA เพิ่มขึ้น 60% ผสมใยอาหาร PDX ลองเลย
So it's fascinating to me that we missed so many ideas, and therefore I had to make this video about everything I wish I knew about love earlier, because it would have made my relationships better, it would have made me feel less hurt in my life, and it would have made me expect differently of the people that I was with. The first one is this: chemistry isn't compatibility. Here's the principle. All of us today over-index on the value of chemistry. We believe that if we feel chemistry, this is our person, this is the one we're meant to spend the rest of our lives with, and this is what love is all about. Some of us will miss out on incredible partners because we didn't feel chemistry on date one, and some of us will stay with people that we have amazing chemistry with, even though we don't have anything else. How many of you have stayed in a relationship where the sex was amazing, even if you didn't connect on a deeper level? I'm sure there's many of you. How many of you stayed in a relationship where you had lots of chemistry, even though you secretly worried and were anxious that that person was cheating on you or there were other red flags? Chemistry makes you ignore the things that actually make a relationship healthy. And we miss out on people who would be amazing partners for us because we didn't feel chemistry in the beginning. When your heart races around someone, it's easy to assume it's meant to be. But research shows we often confuse excitement, anxiety, or even danger for attraction. That spark, sometimes it's adrenaline. So here's the takeaway. Feeling drawn to someone doesn't mean they're right for you. It means your nervous system is activated. Next time you feel the spark, pause and ask yourself, do I feel safe or just stimulated? I read a study that talked about how when we first are attracted to someone, we experience two things: stress and excitement. That's actually what we experience to be chemistry. So we have the stress of, do they like me? But we have the excitement of, I think I like them. We have the stress of, will I get their number? And then we have the excitement of, I just got their number. And then we have the stress of, well, what do I message them? And then we have the excitement of, they just messaged me back. And then we have the stress of, will they message me first? Will they ask me out? But then we have the excitement of, we're going out on a date. And this stress and excitement is what creates chemistry and this spark. But here's what happens over time. The stress goes down. When you spend more time with someone, you know they're going to text you. You know they're going to show up on time. You've now gone exclusive. You moved in together. So now the stress goes down, so the excitement doesn't feel as high. We now confuse that lack of stress as boredom, when actually it's peace. That's what your nervous system was looking for anyway. But we confuse inconsistency with excitement and stability with boredom. We think if things have become peaceful, we lost the spark. No, you didn't. You lost the stress. You weren't stressed out anymore. Are they going to text? Are they going to show up? Do they like me? They do text. They do show up. They do like me. Don't confuse a lack of stress as a lack of spark. A good relationship is where you feel safe and stimulated. It's when you feel seen and excited. A healthy relationship is one where you feel heard without having to shout. It's one where you feel loved without having to shrink. It's one where you feel respected in silence, not just praised in public. It's one where you feel desired for who you are, not just what you offer. It's a relationship where you feel pushed to grow, never pressured to perform. A place where peace isn't boring and passion isn't toxic. Because real love doesn't choose between calm and chemistry. It gives you both. A lot of the times, we create drama in relationships because we're so used to it. We create problems because we're so used to them. We're not good at peace because we've never seen that before. And I wish I knew that in my 20s. I actually wish I knew that in my teens because I probably allowed for too much drama or added to it because I believed that was excitement. We believe that stress is excitement. And you may say, no, Jay, I don't want stress in a relationship. I don't want drama. Well, think about it. How much do you allow to happen to you? How much do you create yourself? So many of us will spend years of our life allowing people to bring drama and trauma into our lives instead of peace because we're more used to it. Stop doing that.
Want to travel for less? Agoda makes it easy. Book early, save big. Agoda's got early bird deals waiting for you. Never miss a price drop. Agoda alerts notify you instantly. Stick to your budget. Agoda has great deals for all budgets. Enjoy new adventures. Agoda has great deals for activities, tours, and more. See the world for less with Agoda. Book now.
If we place them into these positions first,
We can drive them out.
I'll clear the path. Adieu.
Step number 2. Love without boundaries is self-abandonment. In your 20s, it's easy to lose yourself in love, but healthy attachment requires a strong sense of self. Without boundaries, love turns into people-pleasing and self-abandonment. You can't build a we until you protect yourself. Write a list of 3 emotional non-negotiables in relationships. Things you won't bend on or leave behind, no matter who they are. How many of you know someone, a friend, a family member, maybe even yourself, who completely alienates and forgets about their friends when they're in a relationship? Right? You completely ignore everyone. You never message back. You don't go out anymore. You found your person. And all of a sudden, when that person breaks up with you, you now realize you feel alone. You don't have any friends. How many of you give up all your hobbies, all your interests? You stop working out. You stop going to the places you loved hanging out because you have that person. Don't make that person your identity. Don't make that person your everything. Don't make that person your only thing. Because if you leave them or they leave you, you'll feel like you are nothing. You'll feel like you don't have any value and don't know what your life's about. Boundaries bring the right people close and push the wrong ones out. They don't scare away love. They filter out the noise. They don't create distance. They reveal who's willing to meet you with respect. The people who leave when you set boundaries were never here for you, just your access. The right ones don't get offended. They get it. Boundaries don't block love. They protect it. I wish I knew about boundaries a lot earlier because boundaries will protect you from causing harm to yourselves. If you set boundaries about what you're not willing to tolerate, you won't stick around when people don't respect them. If you set boundaries that protect what you value, you won't stick around when people don't change their behavior. Too many of us accept, tolerate, and allow giving the other person space to behave with us wrongly because we never set a boundary. I'm sure many of you have been hurt, taken advantage of, screwed over. And when you look back, you realize that that person was always showing you who they were, but you kept allowing them to be that way. It wasn't your fault, but you allowed it to continue. And that's what we want to stop. That's what boundaries do. Step number 3, how they handle boredom tells you everything. We overestimate how happy certain moments will make us. Dates, anniversaries, weddings, or big trips. But what actually predicts long-term connection? How you feel on an ordinary Tuesday night together. Long-term love isn't built in highlight reels. It's built in the quiet moments. Ask yourself, would I still want to be around this person if nothing exciting ever happened again? Because life is about how you both feel on a Tuesday evening. Life is about how you feel on a Monday morning before work. Life is about how you feel coming home to that person on a Friday night. Life isn't about the vacations. It isn't about the once-a-year trips. It isn't about the wedding day. That's 1% of the experience with this person. You want to make sure that you have something that is good when there's nothing else exciting going on. An exciting life will cover the cracks of a bad relationship. A good relationship will make the exciting moments even better. The exciting moments will feel enhanced. The trips will feel like an amazing rush, but it has to be good without all of that. Something I wish I learned earlier. I always felt like I needed grand gestures, big dates, exciting moments to make something exciting. And then I realized just a great conversation, feeling the calmness and the peace in my nervous system when I came home. I feel that every time I see Radhi, even today. We both travel a lot for work. We both do a lot of exciting things for our work. But one of our favorite things is just having a routine. We're 5 days a week. We're spending together, coming home after a busy day of work and just sitting together and doing nothing. Just being together can be some of my best memories. Step number 4, conflict doesn't ruin relationships. Avoiding it does. I used to think that the best couples don't fight. I used to think that if I was in a relationship with someone and we disagreed with each other, it was the wrong person. I now realize that relationships are a space for growth, not for comfort. If relationships are just about comfort, first of all, I don't know any that are, but if relationships are just about comfort, then you're not going anywhere. Relationships are meant to challenge you. They're meant to make you grow. They're meant to make you realize how selfish and greedy you are. They're meant to make you realize how it's important to think about someone else. They're meant to make you more emotionally intelligent. Healthy couples don't avoid conflict. They manage it.
With Monday.com, every business, no matter the industry or size, can simply work better. Monday.com adapts to every team's needs and connects departments in one unified workspace, giving the entire organization the ability to zoom out, track all moving parts, and make smarter decisions in real time. Go to Monday.com and start your free trial today.
With repair. Here's the key. For every one negative interaction, you need 5 positive ones to stay emotionally connected. How you fight matters more than how often you fight. So on your next argument, try this. Help me understand what this brought up for you. Ask that. And then actually listen. Don't defend, right? Usually when we fight, we're just fighting for what our parents did. We're just fighting for what some old belief says. I used to think love means you don't fight. Now I know it means you know how to repair. I used to think love was proven by grand gestures. Now I know it's built in the small, consistent ones. I used to think love meant never needing space. Now I know it's respecting someone enough to give it to them. I used to think love was about never changing. Now I know it's about growing and still choosing each other. I used to think love should always feel easy. Now I know the real kind is chosen, especially when it's not. I used to think love was how loud they said it. Now I know it's how clearly they show it. Number 5, lust is loud, but real love is often quiet. Here's the thing. Your brain craves novelty. That's why new relationships feel addicting. But over time, the dopamine fades, and people mistake that for love fading. What you're really seeing is your brain adjusting. So here's the takeaway. The high of lust wears off, but emotional security is a slow burn. Track connection, not just attraction. Ask weekly and monthly, do I feel more seen or more ignored over time? Do I feel safe or do I just feel stimulated? If they only excite you, it's chemistry. If they calm your nervous system, it's care. If they make your heart race, but never your mind rest, that's adrenaline, not alignment. If you're always guessing, it's not passion, it's emotional confusion. If you feel seen only when you're perfect, that's performance, not partnership. If they hype your highs, but disappear in your lows, that's entertainment, not commitment. Real love isn't just sparks, it's steadiness. It's the one who brings peace to your chaos, not more chaos to your peace. It's the one who regulates your nervous system, not constantly triggers it. Because safety doesn't kill connection, it deepens it. And by the way, you have to do all of this back. I think when we talk about love, we all talk about like, what's someone doing for me? Is that person got red flags? What are they doing for me? What should they be doing for me? What are you doing for them? This is a really important thing to talk about. What are you doing for them? Are you also doing it back? And what I'm also going to add is no one is perfect when you meet them. No one is going to be the perfect partner for you the day you meet them. It is the choice you both make every day, every week, every month, every year to become more of that person, to heal independently, to heal together, to connect more. A relationship is one where you're both willing to give each other patience to grow yourself and commit to growing together. That's a relationship. Here's how it goes in reality. You'll meet people who don't know how to listen. Are you patient enough to wait for them to learn? And do they want to learn for you? You'll date people who aren't emotionally intelligent or don't know how to convey their emotions. Are you willing to wait and are they willing to learn? You'll meet people that feel you have a lot of baggage. Are they willing to wait for you? And are you willing to heal? Those are the only two questions. There's not going to be this perfect person who already speaks your language, who's already perfectly emotionally intelligent, who's already therapized and perfect and healed from every piece of baggage they have. It's the relationship that does that. That is part of the therapy. That is part of the healing. The only two questions that make a relationship successful. Are you willing to wait? Are they willing to heal? Are they willing to wait? Are you willing to heal? A relationship, a healthy one, is where you're both patient while the other person heals, and you're both healing while the other person is patient. You're doing the work while they wait for you, and they're doing the work while you wait for them. That's what a real relationship looks like. I used to believe you're going to meet someone who's perfectly formed, perfectly healed, already enlightened, already emotionally intelligent, and now we're just going to get each other. That is the biggest mistake you can make, especially if you're in a spiritual community where you just assume everyone knows all of this. They don't, and neither do you. Number 6, their attachment style will affect yours. You're not immune to your partner's patterns. A secure person can bring safety. An avoidant one can make you anxious even if you weren't before. Our styles adapt to the emotional environment we're in. Who you choose will either soothe your nervous system or stir your survival instinct. Now, neither is good or bad because one could challenge you to grow, but it's important that you observe. Do I feel more regulated or more reactive around them? Your body knows before your brain does. The way they were loved will shape how they love you. The way they were cared for will shape how they care for you. If they were taught love is earned, they might make you prove yourself. If they were taught love was unpredictable, they might test your consistency. If they were never heard, they might not know how to listen. If they were never held, they might not know how to stay. People love through the lens of what they've survived. Not all distance is disinterest. You're not always being judged. You're sometimes being misunderstood. You're not responsible for their past, but you are responsible for how you protect your heart in the present. Because their wounds aren't your fault, but their healing shouldn't cost your peace. A real relationship is where we're willing to commit to do that healing work together. We are going to walk in with different backgrounds, different walks of life, different parenting. That's not an issue. If you try and find someone who's exactly like you or complements you perfectly, chances are you'll be looking forever. It's someone that is really there to do the work with you. That makes all the difference. Number 7, your standards are shaped by what you've repeated, not what you deserve. You tend to fall for what feels familiar, not what's healthy. If chaos or consistency was your normal growing up, love without drama might feel boring. But familiarity isn't the same as alignment. Here's the takeaway. Just because it feels familiar doesn't mean it's right. List the top 3 emotional patterns you keep repeating in relationships. Then ask, who taught me that was normal? Sometimes what feels like love is just a well-rehearsed wound. It's the chaos that feels familiar, the inconsistency that feels normal, the emotional unavailability that feels like a challenge you need to earn. You think you're drawn to them, but really, you're drawn to what you've been conditioned to survive. You call it chemistry, but your nervous system calls it danger it already knows how to handle. You think it's love because it hurts the same way you were first hurt. That's not love. It's memory. That's not a connection. It's a loop or a bad habit. How do we break that loop? So, name the pattern. Ask yourself, what does this feel like that I felt before? Clarity is the first break in the cycle. Then interrupt the autopilot. When someone triggers that familiar spark, pause and ask yourself, is this healthy or just familiar? And also ask yourself, do I need to become healthier? Because sometimes we don't like something, it doesn't feel healthy because it actually challenges us to grow. That's not a bad thing in a relationship. I found some of the best things in my relationship is when I was challenged to grow by things that I thought were unhealthy. And actually what it was requiring is more growth from me. Sometimes when something's unhealthy in a relationship, we think it's because that person needs to grow, when actually it could be that you need to grow. Step number 3 of that, redefine love in your language. Write down what love isn't. Then define what you want it to feel like. And by the way, you should do this together. Do you both see love as safety? Do you both see love as being seen? Are your expectations actually aligned? And finally, give yourself what you keep chasing. The validation, the presence, the approval, give it to yourself daily so you don't bargain for it in someone else's hands. Here's my final thought. Most people chase love based on what they felt, not what they understood. But when you combine heart with science, emotion with self-awareness, and attraction with alignment, you stop chasing fireworks and start building a real life. Thank you so much for listening to today. I hope this episode helps you. It took me a long time to learn these lessons. I'm trying to share them with you in a really succinct, powerful way. Let me know what connected with you. Tag me in those stories and reels and TikToks, and I'll see you again soon. Make sure you subscribe and don't miss out. I'll see you back here on Purpose. If you love this episode, you're going to love my conversation with Matthew Hussey on how to get over your ex and find true love in your relationships.
People should be compassionate to themselves, but extend that compassion to your future self. Because truly extending your compassion to your future self is doing something that gives him or her a shot at a happy and a peaceful life.
These are the 9 things you need to know about love.
The #1 health and wellness podcast.
Jay Shetty. Jay Shetty. The one, the only Jay Shetty.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning back into On Purpose. I appreciate it so much. Today we're diving into one of the most important topics in all of our lives, love. And love isn't just about romantic relationships. It's about understanding ourselves, building meaningful connections, and growing into the best versions of who we are. So in this special compilation episode, I've gathered wisdom from some of the best minds out there to help you navigate love with more clarity, confidence, and purpose. Number 1, how do we know if someone is wasting our time? Whether it's a relationship that feels stagnant or a connection that just doesn't seem to be going anywhere, we need to recognize the signs. To break it down for us, we have Stefan Speaks, relationship coach, speaker, and best-selling author. He's helped millions navigate love with honesty and self-awareness. Let's hear what he has to say.
So to me, again, I think it always starts with self. And you have to be honest with yourself about why are you still here? Why are you holding on? What's really driving you? Because just use an example, let's say you're a woman and the only reason why you're holding on to this guy is because he's a nice guy. You don't feel like starting the process over with somebody else. So even though you're not feeling it with him, you figure, let me try to make it work. You're wasting your time. This is where you're setting yourself up for disaster every single time. So if it's not born out of a true connection, love, a genuine desire, you really like this individual, of course, there's always things we have to work through, but is the foundation strong enough for us to say, okay, we can make something special here? And I think once we are honest with ourselves, that kind of helps answer the question, because sometimes we get so caught up trying to analyze the other individual that it's like we get in our heads and now we're missing the mark on what's really important here. And we can't always say for sure what's going on with them. I will say that in general, if this person isn't willing to talk about things, they're wasting your time. If they're not willing to address or correct things that have been talked about, they're wasting your time. If you guys aren't on the same page about what you want and where you want to go in life, wasting time. So there are some things I think we can just look at and say, listen, this is pointless here. But a lot of times, and I have to say this, especially for women, women's intuition is extremely powerful. I'm a huge believer in it. And I feel like women know very early, this isn't it. But they rationalize reasons to convince themselves to give this man a chance. And this, again, is a waste of time because it just doesn't work. I've seen people turn what should have been maybe a couple weeks of dating into years of being married to someone they were not happy with. All because they did not listen to themselves from the beginning. They knew what it was, but they just could not accept it for what it was.
I mean, I love that. It's such an important reminder. Trust your intuition and be honest with yourself. Sometimes we overanalyze the other person instead of checking in with our own feelings. Now, let's go even deeper. Number 2, how do we know if what we're feeling is true connection or just chemistry? Stefan explains the difference.
Are you even being yourself, or can you be yourself with this individual? If you're presenting your representative, then this is not a real connection. This is them falling for that person that you're presenting, but that's not real. So to me, you should be already being yourself, but with that person you have a connection with, it's a more natural flow. We don't have to force it. We just feel so much more comfortable around them. I think in addition to that is when you find yourself all caught up in the moment and caught up in that chemistry, again, you have to ask yourself, what am I really attaching myself to? What do I really like about this individual? What I find is that when it's really about chemistry, we're still on the surface. You don't really know about them yet. You just know you guys had a good time. Maybe you had fun at this event. You guys were able to talk about a lot of different things, which is great, which is going to also be important if there is a connection. However, do you even know what kind of relationship they want? Do you know what kind of life they want to live? You know, are you guys really on the same page? I think connection is our paths align, our purposes align. So for us to align, we have to have a deeper understanding of where we're headed. And can we head there together? So that's why I think though you may feel it or you may feel like you're feeling it, you have to do your due diligence to dig deeper to find out, okay, is this just I got caught up on the surface or there is something real here?
Yeah.
And I think once we ask enough questions, because I think that's the other big problem. We have this experience where we feel this chemistry, we're so excited, and now we're afraid to ask questions because we don't want to blow up the fantasy.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
We're just like,
yes.
no, I want to keep believing this is great, so let me not ask anything. Let me not run this person away. Let me not rock the boat. But that's going to be what tells us if this is real or not.
I think for so many people, you set unrealistic expectations in who you are.
Yes.
And that's hard to come back from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important for us to know who we are so that we can present the real from the jump. You know, because again, a lot of times people, you know, this idea that we're always changing. Yes, I do think we're always evolving, but some of the big shifts that you see it's not because that's just the way life is. It's because you didn't take the time to figure yourself out first. And then you got with this person and now you want them to adjust. Now, thank God for you, she was able to adjust. But there's a lot of people that they can't handle that.
Yeah.
And now everything falls apart from there. So that's why, yeah, we have to be very careful with what we're presenting from the beginning.
That's pure gold. Chemistry can feel intense, but it doesn't always mean long-term compatibility. Now, let's shift gears. Number 3, maybe you're single and wondering, am I behind? If you've ever felt that way, this next guest is for you. Lori Gottlieb is a psychotherapist, author of Maybe You Should Talk to Someone, and a relationship expert who's here to remind us why being single at 28 or any age is not a bad thing.
You are exactly where you need to be if you are doing the work. If you're not doing the work, you're going to be behind. And what I mean by doing the work is if you are not in a place where you want to be with a relationship, you have to understand why. So are you examining what has not worked yet? Why, if I am single and I don't want to be single, what can I be doing differently? And so I think that's the important work. So you're not behind at all. In fact, you're probably ahead of people who are in relationships who have not done the work and maybe aren't in the right relationship or are in a relationship that's not going to last or isn't going well.
Why is it that we struggle to actually do the work? What does that look like?
I think it's so much easier when we talk to our friends. And, I've talked about the difference between idiot compassion and wise compassion before. Idiot compassion is you say to your friend, look what happened on this date, or look what happened with this person. And they say, yeah, you're right, they're wrong. And we never learn or grow from that. right? Because yes, there might be something that the other person did, but also what was your role in that interaction? A relationship is all about relating. So what was your role in the dance that you're doing with this person? And what you get in therapy is you get wise compassion, where we hold up a mirror to you and we help you to see something about, what your role is, maybe something you haven't been willing or able to see, but that's so important so you don't repeat these situations where you're in this pattern and then you wonder, why do I keep ending up with a person who doesn't listen to me, or a person where I don't feel seen, or where I can't be myself, or where we have a lot of volatility, or where this person's really avoidant? Why am I always with people who avoid? Or what makes me avoid? And I don't talk to the person about what I want or what I need. So that's the work that's really important. So you're not behind if you're single at 28. It's part of the process. If you're doing the work, you're much closer than you've ever been to finding the person that you want to be with.
I love that perspective. It's not about timelines. It's about doing the work. But why do we resist the work? Number 4, why is self-awareness so hard? Laurie's got some powerful insights on how understanding our patterns can help us build better relationships.
We have this saying, we marry our unfinished business. We date our unfinished business too. So if you, let's say earlier in your life, you were around someone who, was neglectful, somebody who drank too much, somebody who lost their temper, somebody who wasn't honest, somebody who wasn't reliable. We think when we're dating as adults, like, I want the opposite of that. I want someone where I feel safe, secure, there's trust. But what happens is, unconsciously, again, if we haven't done the work, our unfinished business, we actually, our unconscious is, oh, you look familiar. Come closer. So on the surface, they don't look like that person. But then when you get to know them, you're a month in, you're 3 months in, you're 6 months in, you think, wow, that person reminds me of someone. This person feels so familiar. And that's why I was drawn to this person. It turns out this person is very much like what I grew up with, is very much like the person who hurt me growing up. So if you do the work, you're able to see, oh, that person, I see why I'm drawn to them, but I'm not drawn to them in a healthy way. And then if you do even more work, you're not even drawn to those people anymore. Now you're drawn to healthy people, stable people, flexible people, emotionally generous people, people whose values align with yours. That's who you're drawn to. So you have to do the work.
Is there a healthy way of future tripping with the person? Is there a collective, collaborative future tripping? Like, what does that look like?
I think the future tripping is being in the present. And what I mean is, what's happening now is what it's going to look like in the future. So instead of imagining, oh, this person will change in this way, or this we're going to have this kind of life, but you don't know if the other person wants that kind of life. If you're not talking about it now in the present, you don't know. How does this person treat me now? What is it like when we're together? The biggest indicator would be, we had a disagreement. How did we get through it? That's what your future is going to look like. We didn't agree on this. We were frustrated with each other. We had a difference of opinion. How did we repair that rupture? We talk a lot about rupture and repair. Everybody's going to have ruptures. You have it with your family members, with your friends, with your coworkers, with your parents, with your children, especially with your romantic partners, because we have this misguided notion that we shouldn't have a rupture with them because we're so in love and we see each other and we see eye to eye. But of course you're going to have ruptures. It's not so much whether you're going to have a rupture, it's what do you do with it and what does it look like? So if you have been dating for, let's say, 6 months and you haven't had a rupture, you guys are not going deep enough. You guys don't know each other well enough. You're still on your best behavior. You have to be able to be yourselves. That's going to tell you what the future looks like. So stop the pretending, be yourself, be what you want your future to look like, act like you want your future to look like, see how the other person acts, and see what happens between the two of you. And a repair would look like something like, oh, we're having a disagreement right now. Why don't we take 15 minutes and let's come back when we're not so heated and let's talk about that. Or, you made a mistake. You know what? I've been thinking about this. Say you have an argument. You say, we're not going to talk for a few minutes. Let's go cool off, whatever. You call them back and you say, you know what? I thought about it. I was wrong. And I'm so sorry. Here's what I did. And I wish I had done it this way. And that's great if your partner can do that, or if you can do that, right? And then if your partner then can accept that without shaming you, if your partner can say, I really appreciate that, and I wish that I had reacted differently in this way. And how can I be more supportive in those moments? That's beautiful. That's your future. But you have to see it in the present. You can't imagine what the future is going to be. You have to actually live it in the present and say, oh, now I know it's going to be just like it is right now.
Now that's a wake-up call. Sometimes doing the work means facing things we'd rather avoid. But that's the only way to grow. Number 5, what if we keep attracting the same type of relationships over and over? Dr. Joe Dispenza, neuroscientist, researcher, and expert on rewiring the brain, explains how we can break free from those cycles and attract relationships that truly align with us.
Typically, it usually takes a crisis or a disease or a diagnosis or a trauma or a loss or a betrayal for a person to really decide, is this really who I want to continue to be? So my message is, why wait for that, right? So there's nothing wrong with saying, I want to be in a relationship. I want the following things in a relationship from this person, or what might be my ideal relationship. I think people have an image in their mind of what they like or what their type is or whatever. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think what people are really looking for is connection and joy. Like, people should be in a relationship. The reason they should be in a relationship is to be overjoyed to be with the person that you're with, right? You want joy in your life. For me, it would make sense then if the person got very clear on what they wanted, then they should start on the journey to become that very person. They should really work on being that very person that they want. So there would have to be some change that they would have to make in order to be worthy enough to create a person that they would attract in their life. And we cannot attract anything in our life that we feel separate from. Trusting in a future that you can't see or experience, you have to lay down the very thing you use your whole life to get what you want, to trust that something greater could happen. And that's not something that's very easy. So I like the idea that it wouldn't happen on a date that was from an app. It could happen in a bank. It could happen at a seminar. It could happen in the grocery store, in a way that you least expect. Right? And
Ooh, Todd. All right, the internet YouTube gods did their thing because I like the videos they were playing. We don't have to. Thank you for staying here while I went and did the laundry, washed the sheets. Yay. Also had dinner, amazing pizza. I brought some for John Luke. I don't know how daring he'd be. He's probably not going to eat the pizza. But maybe he'd show you, oh, it's good. It's Hawaiian. And spinach. I just ate a bunch. Okay. Yes. So I have to tell you all what happened. Okay, so basically by the time I had 30 minutes left for my clothes to dry, and I know I can take it out a little early, so 30 minutes until I needed to be picked up. My phone, that's the hotspot, that's the only way I could connect to Wi-Fi or whatever, was on 5%. I call a taxi. I say it in Thai that my phone's on 3%. I can't charge it. Can he take a ride? Come it's like Uber. Take a ride, come back here in 20 minutes and take me off app to my house, which wasn't far, okay, at the laundromat / gorgeous dinner place, fancy, incredible, don't think it's all country out here. Yay, thank you, follow, thank you so much, thank you. Okay, right, and then he was like, oh, it's okay, madame, I'll wait here 20 minutes for you. And I was like, no, that's too nice. That's too nice. And I was like, I can pay you. Okay, then I'm inside the laundromat. Phone dies. I kind of forget what his car looks like because I'm kind of a ditz. Get my clothes. Some of my clothes go out there. I guess I knock on the car that I think is his. It's so safe. It's his. He comes out. He's helps me. I'm like, wait, this is too nice. I gave him a 100% tip, but still, it is too lovely in Thailand. Oh, shout out Rear Lover for Rear Lover. That's maybe Rare Lover for the follow. Thank you, followers. Thanks for being part of the community. Thanks for being part of the mission for this space. Thank you for everyone in here. It's cool that when I jump back in here, people are in here. Yeah, so I told him, I was like, yo, I'm going to talk about you on my stream. That is too kind. People like that just, it's such a blessing. I also had an idea. I'm going to announce it here, and I'm going to do it. Depending on where you are, basically starting in 15 hours from now. So starting in 15 hours from now, I'm going to do a 24-hour stream. Yay! Okay, I thought we had the goal of 4 followers. We now have the goal of 3 followers, okay? Shout out to the rainy season nails. Shout out to everybody rainy season, Bangkok rainy season. These nails were inspired by Bangkok rainy season. This bracelet is from one of my students' fundraisers, okay? Please put your Cash App in the chat. If you follow, put your Cash App. I'm sending Cash App, okay? It's a small community. I'm going to appreciate while I can. No, I haven't made money yet, but we are very close to being an affiliate right now, so holla. Some of you are in here, you saw my man, he's at football practice now, which is soccer, football, so yeah. Maybe when he comes back, he'll eat the pizza. I did the laundry finally. And tomorrow, we'll be going to start off before the 24-hour stream. To kick off the 24-hour stream, we're going to have the first guest, hopefully. After I teach tomorrow, I'm going to go to TJ Computer, and I'm going to ask them to come here. So we'll start the stream, try different audios, try to get this audio tight and right. They're the best, okay? Maybe if there's Thai people in the chat, sound off. We might do our first Thai speaking. I'm going to have to use a translator or something. I can speak a little, but okay. Then leave the stream on for 24 hours. Get things done. This will be the board of things to get done. There are two things up there done. One of them being the goal we hit. Kickstarter page by September 13th, absolutely. So that will be done. Discord, we made the Discord, but putting it on the bottom of the page. And then here's the specific reminder to add it to the bottom of the page. So I guess we did Discord. We are streaming on YouTube. I feel like we're so Twitch. Make a list. Oh yeah, make a list of the followers checkpoints. So like if we reach our goal of like 3 more followers by tomorrow, or like the end of the 24-hour stream tomorrow, it'll be like something. Yeah, we did some of these. And then I guess I'll put on the TJ's one, and I will be go to TJ's, and I believe I'll be pulling this off tomorrow because I want to go before the 24-hour stream. If you don't mind not to be annoying, please let me know how the audio sounds in the chat. I really appreciate it. Okay, so we have 5 things that will be done during the 24-hour stream. The TJ's guy, make a list of the followers, goals, checkpoints. Get that Discord on the bottom of or Instagram, one of them at least at the bottom of the Twitch. And that Kickstarter page for MetaMonk. Okay, thank you. So that will be done. Also, I'll be, I guess, sleeping on stream because I want to sleep for 24 hours. So I'll push this bed up. Yeah, I guess I'll be eating on stream. Everything. So I don't know. I guess I'm going to take 20-minute breaks for showers. But yeah, it's a subathon. And thank you to some followers tonight. We only are 3 away from our goal. But the thing is, the analytics be clocking slow. So, and sometimes people like unfollow and stuff. So maybe still keep the goal at 4. Maybe this will be what will be satisfying to take it away. I can make this more satisfying tonight. I don't really like my use of styrofoam right now, but I'm going to use it, and I'm a teacher. I'm going to use it over and over and over and over again because it's so bad for the environment. So I know that. I just don't have a whiteboard right now, and also just like in general, there's problems with that too. But just mindful not to go too big. So Kickstarter page, that's a big one. Discord, we kind of did. Maybe we can, this could be like, since I already did the Discord, look into it. Because all I know is I have like a few friends, messages, shout out to Saud, shout out to Saudi Arabia, shout out to the girly pop I was talking to today. I'm so sorry to forget your name. Shout out to the people that sent me the banner, Neon Willow. Thank you so much. I do have a Discord, so we can look at Discord, add it to the bottom of the page, make a list of checkpoints. Y'all can let me know what you want. I can mail packages with these champion bucket hats, cash apps, 25 followers. Everybody gets a little cash app, something of that nature, okay? But I'm offering that now if you put your cash app in the chat, okay? Because I'm feeling good. And then schedule, go to TJ's for the clear audio, maybe even a new webcam with our budget of, I have about 4,000. That's almost half. I want to leave this out. 24-hour streamathon badge. I can take this shirt off. I was doing this. It's so hot. Okay. Where to put this? I want to rearrange this. I want to move the chair back here. Okay, let's get it popping. Hold on one second. Whoop. I would take my hair down because it looks better, but like I said, it's 100 degrees Fahrenheit, about 35 degrees Celsius. Sorry for the audio. Please let me know in the chat. I just turned off the desktop audio, so please let me know if that makes it any clearer. Yeah, please just sound off in the chat. Okay, I'm going to rearrange a little bit. My man's going to be like, what the heck? Girl, squirrel. Okay, so maybe I can comfortably sit here. This board can be like here, some. We don't need it on stream at all times, whatever. Okay. Thank you for still being here. I'm answering questions. I do have to put the, my God, it's so hot. Do you have to put the, clean sheets on the bed? It is, what is 21? It is 21:34. It is 9:34 p.m. Thursday, September 11th, here in Langsit, Puntani, Thailand, outside of Bangkok. Yeah, we're a American couple. I'm from Philly. My man's from Haiti, and we've been living around the world, not together. We just met here a year ago, and we are showing the real what goes on. We also study with monks, and I have experienced loss. I've experienced losing my best friend, Amber Reds, to gun violence, just senseless gun violence all the time. So after years and years, decades, if you will, of studying, researching, and when I say researching, I mean with my whole life, not like at a library, but like with my whole life on a spiritual, emotional, physical, literal, everything. This is the way to make the biggest, fastest reduction in homicide and suicide, and that's bringing everyone a little more inner peace. It can be meditation more than any gun law, any regulations, even though I would love those as well. But yeah, so that's, we have free resources, contacts with the monks. They're on TikTok. You can FaceTime them. Like I said, we're editing content, raising money for our editor. That's what the Kickstarter is for. So to meet people wherever they are, and how I got so lucky. I met the monk I study with on Clubhouse, and so not everyone is so lucky to just quit everything or up and leave everything and come to Thailand. And I've been here for 4 years on this journey, healing my family trauma, all that, finding love, finding myself, growing, yeah, like I said, breaking like curses, and by some odd stroke of nature in the middle of nowhere in Thailand, we are still enough for a minute. We just moved into this house, I think, like 6 weeks ago. And we are August 1st, and we are still enough for a minute and blessed enough and in a position to get the cheapest streaming setup, but you know that's still some money. I mean, we just get paid and pay our bills and things like that. There's usually not money for extra like this, but I believe in an anointed way of creating this space and this energy in this space. So thank you. A follow helps. Staying in here and hanging out helps. Thank you so much. Cheers. I don't know if you're supposed to cheers with water, but you should. Drink water. So good. Okay, so it's 9:40. Then, yeah, like in 20 hours from now. So please sound off in the chat if you plan on tapping in on the 24-hour subathon. All we need is 3 followers, a follower-thon. Okay. Let me know if you want me to sleep on the stream, because it's basically gonna have to happen. I can either sleep back there. I'm gonna have to put on the sheets and figure that out, I guess. I can either sleep back there or bring the bed up a little. Okay. When we get to hundreds of followers, we will have the camera and we will be going all over the 6 stories of this house. Spoiled, you say? No, we are spending $400 US a month. So, pretty interesting. Those are the steps up to our bedroom, down to the like foyer, if you will, and then down again to the kitchen. And yeah, up to my dressing room, up 2 floors in my dressing room, and on the 3rd top floor with the deck is also my man's office. But I love when we share this space, because you have to walk from our bedroom down to the ground floor. Well, it's a patio and then the ground floor. You have to pass the streaming room. So this was all newly manifested. I was living in hotels for the last year, renting a room for a year before that. Going through it. So this is the most stable. This is the most loved home. Everything. It is hot. This air conditioner stopped working. But like I said, it's a big house. There's things that go on. So we got in on some good looks on like Thai people saying like, yeah, they're foreign, but they're not like annoying foreign. So we have to uphold that. So we pick and choose what to mention. So yeah, we've just been taking a lot of showers as normal, but like I am hot right now, but I'm just gonna drink some water. So drink some water. Cheers. Okay, I'm gonna need more water. That pizza was too good. Yes, thanks for being here for all this time. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate it. Let me know where you are tapping in from, what time it is where you are. I love when I get off the stream and I get to see what countries. Like, I think it was like a day or two ago, Poland. There was like 16 people from Poland in like an hour and a half stream. Like 16 people from Poland. I'm like, okay, that's heavy on Poland. I don't even know how to say hello in Polish. You know what time it is. Turn on this. I don't know how to say hello. I don't know how to say hello. And I don't want to be an ignorant white girl. But so let's Google Translate it. It takes 5 seconds. Google Translate. What is it? English to Polish. Sheesh. I'm comfy, but I can see. Okay, maybe it's good though for like my Different muscles in my neck. Ooh. Okay, I have to bring the laundry all the way up. Ooh. Okay, okay. Okay. Let's see how to say hello in Polish. Arabic I've learned so far on this stream is mahaba. Mahaban. Mahaban habibi. Okay, and then Polish we have
Witam.
Witam. I mean mahaban honestly took me like 3 days.
Witam.
Witam. Say it with me. Witam. Witam. Polska.
Polska.
Witam Polska. Witam Polska. Dankeschön. Danka.
Dziękuję.
Dziękuję. What?
Dziękuję.
Dziękuję. Are you seeing what I'm saying? Looks like 999 PX.
Dziękuję.
Dziękuję. Okay. How do you say hello again? Witam Polska. Witam Polska. Okay, love y'all. And also, of course, Saudi Arabia, Makabar, Habibi, Saudi Arabia. Arabic? I love it. I love it. It's a small world after all. Let me check my pronunciation. Marhaban.
مرحبا.
Witam. Witam Polska. Witam. Witam.
Witam.
Witam. Okay. I hate to say this. I believe I will be ending the stream now. Woo! Thank you for being here so much. And, wow, over 3 hours. Well over 3 hours. Thank you. And please, within the next 24 hours before that, but tap in, and then I will be streaming live for 24 hours for the first time ever. Oh my God, we shall see about this, okay? But it should be a good energy to lock into. If you want to get some stuff done, we're going to do stuff together, okay? Love you. Listen to God, follow God. You will not regret it. Be good with God, even if it means going against anyone and anything. Okay, love you. God bless. Be safe.